Good. We're live? Are we live?
Yeah, we're live now.
Wow.
To my knowledge.
I'm scared.
To my knowledge, we're live. Yep, there we go. Now we know we're good.
Wow.
Okay, anyway, because I'm a dummy and didn't hit start stream, now we're starting.
Big old doo-doo head.
Well, you see, to stream, you have to open up like a external like thing to stream from, like an operating system.
I'm sure they'll figure it out.
And then
if they ever want to do it.
You have to hit go live on YouTube as well, which I neglected to do. Anyway, Nick, joined by Tyler, Ethan, Connor, and
Whoa. And Jack.
That is the crew tonight. We're going to go around the horn. Everyone can talk just so I can make sure their mics are working. But Jack, start us off. Tell us about your life right now.
Well, I mean, my life. Where do I begin, folks? Well, you know what? Had a scare recently. I thought my appendix was going to burst about a week ago. Yeah, ended up going to St. Clair Hospital in the lovely, lovely South Hills of Western Pennsylvania, not the North Hills. Anyways, I went to the hospital thinking my appendix was going to burst, and I was like kind of scared on the way there. My whole body went numb. I got really stiff, and I thought I was dying. But turns out that was an anxiety attack.
Ooh.
I didn't know that could happen.
I've had a few of those.
Yeah, that stuff was not fun. That was awful. I had a bad Monday 2 weeks ago.
I would imagine.
About a week ago. I had a pretty rough Monday, and I was right in the middle of getting some work done that I've been trying to get done, and I was like, you know what, this is cool. I'm really rolling with this. And then my side started to burn, and I was like, I think something bad's happening. But you know what? Turns out I'm completely normal. So, yeah, the doctors told me that I'm a little baby.
Wow. Was that their exact words?
They walked in and said, hey, you're fine. You're a little baby man. Little baby man.
Is that how they talk to you?
They got in my face.
That sounds vastly unprofessional.
I got really scared. I felt really intimidated. It actually chased me out of the ER. So, side note story, which I thought was hilarious. There was a guy in the room next to me, and he was like, he called his brother or something, and he was, to put it lightly, swearing up a heckin' storm. And the guy essentially thought he was fine. He was supposed to get on a plane or something. He ripped the IV out of his arm, started walking around bleeding all over the place in the middle of a pandemic. And no regard for human life whatsoever.
That's some Rambo
like LeBron James stuff on the Miami Heat. But you know what? I had a decent time at the hospital, even though I hate the hospital.
Well, now that we know we're
but I love what they do.
Now that we know we're cooking and we're doing everything right, to my knowledge, we can say the stuff we need to say.
Go ahead and say it then.
I think so. You all know who we are. You all know why we're here. 7 years cancer-free. I was a week ago last Friday. We're here. Aw, don't make me cry this early. So we just want to give back for a great cause. That's why we're all here tonight. And we have some very, very courteous sponsors in the Milkshake Factory, Joe and Pie Pizzeria, and Mike and Tony's Gyros. We will be giving away stuff from all three of those places throughout the evening, so stay tuned. Drop a comment, donate to become eligible. Let us know if you're having a good time. Again, this can be an audio-only broadcast, more like a live version of a normal podcast. We're just doing it on YouTube right now. So thank you very much for tuning in. We have a lot in store for you tonight. Jenna Harner from WPXI, a sports anchor there at a news station in Pittsburgh, WPXI. I sat down with her. We talked to Stadium Scene TV, which is a podcast platform that connects smaller.
Some Milkshake Factory stuff and some other things. So stay tuned for that, like Nick said earlier. That's a very opportune word of the day, I'll tell you that.
I don't know, but while I was looking up the word hippopotamus, the Wikipedia said something about ungulates, and now I'm really perplexed to see what this is.
Perplexed?
I kind of know what an ungulate is, but I never really looked at it. Apparently, they're members of a diverse clade of primarily large mammals with hooves. Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Hooves?
Hooves,
yeah,
like any kind of hooves,
wow.
Not hoofs. It's wolves, not woofs.
Oh, man. I'm glad Gallo was on the word of the day. Very glad Gallo was on the word of the day.
Lagniappe.
We already gave an overview of the night, but we might have cut out. So here's just your rundown. Here's your rundown again, very quickly. We're talking to Jenna Harner from WPXI. I sit down with her. Stadium Scene TV is a podcast network that connects smaller podcasts. Been very big in our growth. And then Sam Anthony at 11 p.m. MLB Network researcher and a new endeavor. New guy Ethan. Come up to the microphone. Come up to the microphone, Ethan. Let me hear your voice.
Yeah, what's going on, Nick?
Okay, listen. We've been beating around the bush for a long time with this new guy thing.
Yeah.
Today we're all in the mood of giving.
Oh.
So tonight, on this live stream, we are all going to cast a vote. Okay?
Okay.
We're going to cast a vote as to whether or not we continue to refer to you as new guy Ethan.
Ooh.
Okay?
So maybe a name change.
So we're all going to cast our vote.
We're going to change your name
and
to
next week,
Jeffrey.
Next week, our last episode where we will be in person for the time being, for about another month and a half, we are going to read the results live on air.
Ooh.
And you will find out if you're new guy Ethan for eternity or if your days as new guy Ethan are numbered.
Oh, let's go. I'm excited.
How does that make you feel?
I'm excited.
You're excited?
I'm excited for a name change, possibly.
Now, if you were to get rid of the new guy mantra, what would your nickname be?
Oh, I have absolutely no idea.
I gave someone the nickname the Dirty Bubble over the weekend. I nicknamed our friend Nate Brysinger Big Slice Bryce. I'm a nickname guy.
E-Man.
I mean,
all right, wait.
I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to nicknames. I've been
the
called
man.
E or Emo. Those are like the only two I've had.
Emo?
Yeah, Emo.
Like My Chemical Romance?
Emo.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Call him Emo.
Like, other than those two, so I'm excited if my name does change. I'm excited what you guys come up with.
Look,
Okay.
I want to throw. I just
Okay.
want to throw something in the hat. I think if he sheds the name new guy Ethan, then he will emerge from that cocoon as the butterfly known as Dave.
What did you just say?
Dave.
Dave. We're gonna call him Dave.
Emo.
That's a nickname.
Look, all I did was just throw it out there. You want to jump on the Dave train? Go ahead.
We are at $766 right
Awesome.
now. Woo! We've already beaten last year's goal, and we've been live for 11 minutes.
Can
Also,
you
Maybe even less than because of all the technical difficulties we've had thus far.
Boy, dolphins are also considered ungulates.
Can you
Oh, no.
read is there stipulations
I
for
don't even
each
know
goal
why. They don't
that
have
we
hooves,
reach?
dude.
Not for us, but for the Where's the News portion, and this is where things get a bit demonic. Where's the News has stretch goals. So for every $500 we raise, I will run a mile, and that will be recorded. That will be on video for everyone's enjoyment. Every $500 we raise, I will run a mile. Right now I'm at 1 mile. $1,000, our friend
How long
John.
is your mile?
5,280 feet.
No, I mean how quick? I phrased that wrong.
I
How
could run
fast
one in
is
about
your
8
mile?
minutes and 30 seconds.
It's probably going to be over 8.
You know what? Hey, that's fair.
I was
used to be like
feeling it very
650.
close to 7:30 2 summers ago.
I
I hit
was going to the
7:30.
Better than
Y.
what I could have done.
I hit 7:38 this summer running around the reservoir near my
I
house.
was going to the Y. There's all those naked old men, and I pretended I was just running away from them on the treadmill, and that's sorry.
I almost made a joke. I didn't.
So yeah, and Connor's typing in the YouTube chat. Well, I'm also on the YouTube chat. That's very nice. I'm getting some reports that were a little loud, so I'm going to tune us down a tad bit.
Leave us your thoughts in the YouTube chat.
Leave us your thoughts if we get too loud. Say,
Remember to like, subscribe, and comment.
E Entertainment. Thank you for whatever that meant. I appreciate it. Yeah.
E Entertainment. Wait, I like that one.
I do.
That can work.
It's quotes with the E inside of it. Entertainment. Maybe we're entertainment. Maybe we're not. Who knows?
Wait, we can get copyrighted for saying E Entertainment.
We could. $2,000. Garrett, who came up with this, so no one cast a stone. Garrett, who is allergic to gluten, will eat bread if we double our goal and get to $2,000.
Oh. Why would...
Does that sound insane to anybody else that we're promoting?
I mean,
for
we're
the
running this for
hospital?
a hospital, and he's going to put himself in the hospital, so...
I think it's a little sadistic.
He's having fun here on the live stream.
Yeah, it's gonna be real fun. Eat the bread, Gary. You like that bread?
You eat your bread and you like it. Oh man. Well, boys, it's already better structured than last year's was.
You know what? I found out that dolphins are ungulates, and I also found out really technically what an ungulate was. So I can't say that this hasn't been constructive.
It has been. It's been a very good night thus far. And we hope it gets only better as we get more goofy as the night progresses. But before we throw it to our interview with Jenna Harner.
Goofy, wacky, silly, crazy.
Before we throw it to our interview with Jenna Harner, it's time to go around the horn and say what we're most looking forward to tonight. We're going to start with Gallo. What are we looking forward to tonight other than the obvious of raising money for a great cause?
Dang. Well, I'm looking forward to just, laid back time talking about sports and stuff like that, talking about this week in sports and all that jazz like you said, doing it for a great cause. We love to do this, and certainly if we can do it to help something else, help the greater good, it's even better.
I just realized that is going to be everyone's answer, so I might as well just preview what we're talking about in a sports world. Coming up after Jenna Harner's interview, we're going to have a Where's the News segment, and then after that we'll talk to Stadium Scene TV, and following that we'll get into some NFL talk, the meat of our sports debate
meat and potatoes
for the evening. But for right now, we're going to try this, make sure it works. If it doesn't, I have no backup plan, so you better hope it works. You are going to hear from Jenna Harner from WPXI right now on the Stranded Sports and Where's the News charity live stream. Enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Stranded Sports Podcast. Nick here, going solo today. They call me Jason Derulo. I hope he sang that song. I'm riding solo. I'm here with Jenna Harner from WPXI here in Pittsburgh. Jenna, how you doing today?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on, as we talked about beforehand. Very busy times as we're recording this on day 2 of election night, I think we could call it. So Wednesday the 4th. And this is a nice break, like we were saying.
No, absolutely. Just kind of nice to be able to talk sports. I think that's what everybody, looks to, especially during crazy times, even during the election. Everyone's like, okay, I want some sort of a distraction. So, hey, with sports, we can provide that.
You're absolutely right. And that was the problem with, I think, the virus, was that sports weren't there for so long. I was like, what do I do? My personality is sports. So now what do I do? What do I have to offer to anybody right now?
Oh, we live and breathe it. And it was positive. It was like, what is happening? What's going on? I remember just like craving anything. I would, as I'm sure you did too, was like watching all of the old games. I'm like, well, I can go back and watch, the New York Giants Super Bowl when they beat the Patriots. I'm like, this is good. This is great.
Right. And then quickly, I always used to watch old games for fun. And then after they were the only thing I could watch, I was like, oh man, this is so lame. This happened 20 years ago.
You look back and you look at all the technology and you're like, how did we deal with this? How did we not deal with these graphics? Is different times, that's for sure.
Absolutely. It's like being cavemen almost, especially because my Wi-Fi at home would cut out because Verizon stinks. Sorry, Verizon. And I'd be like, what do I do now?
Where do I go from here?
We're going to focus on the fun things. Again, we went right back to the not fun things. But anyway, we're going to jump right into it. So what made you want to work in sports? I read an interview you did right when you moved to the Pittsburgh region that said you knew you wanted to work in news reporting since you were 5. So I guess that answers the question. But how did you know that young that you wanted to do this?
Yeah, I always grew up around news. Like it was always a big thing. My mom always had the Today Show on in the morning. And I just remember like looking at the anchors and looking at the reporters and, I wanted to be that. I wanted to do that. I loved, telling people new things and talking about all these interesting stories and talking in general, because of course that's what we do. So I just kind of always knew. And like anytime we would go to children's museums or science museums and they would have all those like, hey, you can be the meteorologist or you can, be the president giving the speech to everybody. I would love to do all those things. And so my parents kind of knew too, which was funny. But then I just took classes in high school and knew that I wanted to go to college for broadcast journalism, thinking I was so dead set on news. And sports was always a huge part of my life. Like I was always a huge fan, vacations would center around sports. Sunday was always football Sunday. Hockey was on every night during the season. Baseball was on. Like some of my biggest memories as kids were, when the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004, we got to stay up and watch it. And that was such a big thing. So I always had that sports. They were always kind of part of my life, but I always was just so laser focused on news. And then when I got to college at Ithaca, I was auditioning for all the TV shows my freshman year, and all the upperclassmen were like, yeah, you're way too good at sports. We're going to take you and you're going to do sports. And that's literally kind of how I got into it. I never thought about it. And I just kind of was like, I don't know why I wouldn't do this. And now I'm here in Pittsburgh.
Right. And that I love hearing those answers when we talk to people in sports media, because it relates to me so much. Because I remember, as you said, football Sunday, we had the NFL Sunday ticket growing up, and I always begged my dad to let me pick what games were on.
Oh my
And
gosh.
obviously the Steelers took priority. We're from Erie, so it's kind of divided Erie actually between Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. But he is a Steelers fan, and he had a rule where if one commercial played, I was no longer in charge of the remote. And
Yes.
it was terrifying. That was more stressful than anything I've ever done in my life, I think. The second a commercial would hit, the remote was gone.
Yep. It was change the channel, go to the next.
It was awful. And then your other story about the be a weather girl or weatherman thing, I always think of, again, here I go telling my stories.
No, I love it.
I went to an Erie Seawolves game when I was a kid. And everyone who listens to this show has probably heard this story 30 times, but I love watching people laugh at me, so everyone's going to hear it again. And we got there early, and they asked me if I wanted to be the PA announcer for an inning and announce the batters.
Oh
And I was shy as a kid, and I didn't say anything. And this girl behind me, who they weren't even asking, who heard it, said, "I'll do it." And I still think that will haunt me until I die.
That will stick with you forever.
It will. It will. I can go and get my dream job, and everyone can universally love me, and I will still feel like I failed because of that.
You'll still remember that one day where you just didn't speak up quick enough to be the Erie Seawolves for one inning PA announcer.
Big idea guy, big picture stuff. But
Yeah,
you mentioned
long term.
you mentioned your college career. What made you want to go to Ithaca, and what opportunities did you have there that kind of better prepared you for your professional career?
So it was also, again, I feel like all these stories are a little crazy, but I was recruited to play lacrosse at Ithaca. So that was kind of a big thing. I knew I always wanted to play lacrosse in college. I started in fourth grade. And I'll never forget, it was the summer going into freshman year of high school when my club team that I had played on, we had a meeting and we were like, and they basically said, okay, it's time to start looking at colleges. And I'm going into I haven't even started high school yet. And I remember coming home and like panicking with my dad. And he's like, okay, like relax, you're fine. And we kind of, went through the list, but it was always on my list. It was kind of that perfect combination of, top D3 athletics. I didn't, I was good, but I wasn't fantastic by any means. I knew that D3, like a top tier D3 school was kind of my range for exactly what I could do. But also a really good communication school. And I kind of fit everything. And I had one of those moments, like when I went to tour the campus, I want to say it was sophomore year, I walked on and I just kind of knew. And I was like, okay, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And looking back now, I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere else. But it was a lot of my classes there and a lot of the ICTV extracurricular stuff. I mean, I look back and everything we did. I mean, from, my first class with two of my absolute best friends, Andrew and Cam, we both, where it was intro to field production and we had a camera in our hands day one and we're out shooting and learning how to shoot and working with things. And it was kind of always that hands-on experience. We had the TV studios, we did all the extracurricular shows. I was covering Cornell hockey. I was covering Ithaca football. It was, everything I could have wanted to, I was able to do there, which was amazing in so many ways. And just a lot of that, kind of thrown to the fire experience. I think that's what a lot of this industry is. And I was lucky to, have to deal with that and figure things out on my own as a sophomore, junior, senior. And then now I look back and I'm like, oh, this, is something I used to do all the time. And now I can still do it in my day-to-day here.
Right. It's awesome when everyone says like, college was so scary. Picking a college was so hard. And almost everyone we talked to, myself included, I talked to myself apparently the way I worded that. But like, you're so worried to pick a college and then you get there and you're like, oh my God, like, I don't know how I ever considered another school. It's so interesting how that always seems to work out.
Yeah, it really does.
But then moving on, I mean, breaking into the sports industry is obviously pretty hard, but a quote that you have is that I never felt like I was a female sports reporter or anchor. I was just a sport reporter, sport anchor. And I think that's a really badass quote. So what's your kind of mentality? Because, I have classes with females trying to get into the industry and stuff. And I know it's a difficult thing, kind of women in the sports industry, but it is starting to diversify based off some people, I follow on, social accounts like I've talked to Nubias Wilborn from the Post-Gazette. Obviously, he's an African-American gentleman, and, so he's breaking in, and I really think diversity in the sports field is awesome. So for your experience, were there any challenges that came with it?
I think it's like kind of like what you said too with that quote. I mean, for me, I've always been really, really lucky to have such a good support system in men in the industry. And I think that is so crucial, having men that see me as an equal, because obviously females in sports, there is that preconceived notion. I mean, I look at the fact too, that women weren't even allowed in locker rooms for, so many years. And now, I mean, obviously with COVID, things are different, but when I was in Buffalo, I lived in the Sabres locker room. I was there, almost every day when we were covering them, doing stories, being in the Bills locker room. And it's normal, the fact that there are women in these locker rooms. But I think, again, that goes back to, all the men that we work with that look at, people based on their journalistic value. Obviously, there are going to be cases where people are going to be ridiculous. So many times I've dealt with that. But also I look at it too. I'm like, okay, it depends on who's saying what. People are always like, oh my gosh, have any professional athletes? And I've been really, really lucky that all the pro teams that I've worked with have been nothing but the highest of class acts, just in terms of how they handle everything and how they act. Because again, it's a normal thing. Females in the locker room is a normal thing. And I know it's a lot for some people to comprehend, but that is the industry in itself now. And I am really lucky that, again, kind of tying back to what I was saying, but that I've, been around so many men that have, worked so well with me and have complimented me on my journalistic value and have, said, hey, this is so fantastic. I love that piece that you did. And we're talking as colleagues. We're not talking as he's a male reporter that covers this team and I'm a female reporter that covers this team, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And we're going to keep trucking right along. What was your first job in the industry that we just said you broke into?
So I worked at WENY News in Elmira, New York. It's a lot of people don't know where Elmira is. I say, if you know where Binghamton is, or if you know where Syracuse is, so in New York State, it's classic. I say the other half of New York State, that's not the city, and the upper part, it's kind of almost a square. Binghamton's here. It's an hour west of Binghamton. It's on the southern tier of New York, so it's kind of the middle south, almost really close to Pennsylvania.
I enjoyed the geography lesson. I know New York as Buffalo, New York, stuff in the middle. I know the cities too, but I just don't know where they are. So I appreciated that.
You're welcome. Just here to help. But I started at WENY in Elmira. I interned there actually for a decent amount of my majority of my senior year. And it just so happened to kind of fall into my lap that there was an opening and I was the intern. And so they were like, hey, would you be interested in applying? And my boss is now his name is Dan Fates. He's one of my best friends now. And I always look at him and my news director, Renata, and I'm like, I can't, you guys are the reason that I'm here now. I'm so lucky that they gave me the start that I did. And it just the timing worked out way too perfectly. It never happens like that, but it really was just too perfect. And it was nice because I had interned there. So I kind of just did what I was doing as an intern, but was getting paid for it. So it was nice.
Right. That's awesome. So before you actually got to Pittsburgh, you were working in Buffalo, which is where I'd assume you would find phrases like the Maction for the Buffalo Bills. That's the NFL team. Good job. The Buffalo Bulls. I love the phrase Maction. That's one of my favorite social media hashtags of all time. But what was it like working in Buffalo? I mean, what opportunities were presented to you that you're like, this is awesome? And just working there in general, what was it like?
It was, I look at Elmira and I'm so thankful for everything that I had there. And I look at Buffalo and I'm so incredibly thankful to have worked in that city. They call it the city of good neighbors. And that's exactly what it was. They welcomed me with the most open arms. I miss it so much. And it's been so cool because every city that I've been in has had such an awesome feel. And I love being in Pittsburgh now, but Buffalo will always have such a special place in my heart. But it was so many things in the 2 years that I was there. I got there, and then a couple weeks later was when they drafted Josh Allen. So I got to see Josh Allen from getting drafted to all the way where right before I left in March was the Stephon Diggs trade. So that was the end of the chapter in my Bills career. Covering the Sabres, getting Rasmus Dahlin, going through everything that they went through, the ups and the downs. And then obviously the UB Bulls, they were kind of my big team. I have them on the TV behind me. Because they're, in their first action game tonight.
I forgot that started tonight.
Yeah,
I saw
action.
I saw the fake, the onside kick Akron did, and I said, "Oh my God, that was tonight."
To start, oh, I love it. There's nothing like the action. There's nothing like the action. But covering UB they were kind of like the team that I was immersed the most with. So I got to travel with them to both of their bowl games, the Dollar General Bowl in Mobile. It was 3 years ago, technically. And then the Bahamas Bowl, which was the craziest thing ever. I still kind of pinch myself that was surreal. They were like, "Oh yeah, you're going to the Bahamas for work for 5 days." I'm like, yeah, I don't hate that at all. And seeing them win their first bowl game in program history was such an awesome historic moment to be on the field with the team and just kind of covering them throughout the whole season, but just seeing that moment, that pinnacle moment of joy among all the guys that just, that team had just dealt with so much the year before that it was like, this is it. We worked so hard for this and they accomplished it.
That's awesome. Now I have to go change my, dream job to allows me to go to the Bahamas once in a while. And so.
Yes. I'll add that to your list for sure. Put that in your list of negotiations. Could not recommend more.
Yeah. I might never get hired because of that, but I'm willing to sacrifice that. So you mentioned earlier that you left in March, which was when this pandemic started. That's like when a lot of people were laying people off, furloughing people. What was it like for you to get a new job during that time?
It was the craziest experience. It still feels so surreal to me just because the whole process just happened so quickly with, getting the job, finding out that I had the job, COVID hitting, moving by myself. Like my parents, I have the best parents in the world. And I know everybody else says that too, obviously. So I love that. But my mom was like heartbroken that she couldn't come help me move. And I'm like, "Mom, it's okay. Like we got this, we got it taken care of." But it was such a crazy time. It feels so surreal to me that it was such a whirlwind. It was, it was right when we were working from home in Buffalo when they sent everybody home. So I'm, my last week I'm working from home and I'm packing and I'm getting things ready. And then I have a week off to finish packing. And then I'm moving to a new city and the city shut down and, moving to a new state. And granted, New York and Pennsylvania are, different in a sense. They're right there, but, follow, little things where I'm like, "Oh, this was a thing in New York. It's not a thing here." And then diving right into a sports job where there's no sports happening. I'm like, "Oh, this is great. This is really good." Like the NHL season is paused and all this, but I look back now, especially, and I'm so surprised and I'm so proud of, being at WPXI where, we were every day, we're still doing 2.5 minutes of sports coverage at 6, 10, and 11, just because we could still fill that content. We were finding every way to do it, every way to be creative, but, we did it. And I look back and I'm so proud of the team that I'm a part of. And I'm so lucky to be a part of that team and to be here. And now we have NFL. So it's like, this is so great. It was one of those things that like things kept progressing so
right.
well.
And it's weird because everything came back and then everything is gone except for football now. And it's almost getting close to that "what do we do now" thing. But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
We both tried to talk. I was just going to say, just out of curiosity, first time driving in Pittsburgh, because that's intimidating.
It is. And it was funny because everyone warned me. Everyone's like, "Be prepared for the traffic and be prepared that you're going to have to like merge and get over 4 lanes in like 30 seconds." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is great." And I've been lucky to have experiences. I've driven in New York City a little.
Oh my God.
Very briefly. Like,
okay. I was there literally not even 5 days before the shutdown because we got nominated for Best YouTube Channel. Which is where you're listening to this right now. So we were there right before the pandemic happened, and it's crazy because the cars think they have the right to go. People just walk around in the street. So kudos to you for driving anywhere near there.
Oh, well, thank you. But yeah, it's so funny. It's been seldom, like just like on the outskirts. So I can't even really say like in the city, but
yeah,
they're in LA. So I thought I was like kind of prepared. But the thing that gets me here, and I've tweeted about this, is either stopping or yielding and treating the yield as a stop when you're merging. I'm like, if it's a yield and there's nobody coming, I'm like, go get on. It kills me. It kills me.
So you mentioned how, you got here and there were no sports. Do you remember what your first assignment was when you got here?
Oh, that's a really good question.
That puts you on the spot.
Oh, man. Yes, actually. Okay. Now I do remember. I interviewed the Pitt men's basketball coach, Jeff Capel. Him and his wife donated a bunch of food to the frontline workers at it was one of the UPMCs. I think it was the main UPMC, which was just so incredible and so moving. And he's such a great guy because he was like, I didn't need it to be this big spectacle. And I was talking with him. I'm like, but that's such an amazing thing. And again, this was when everybody was just, locked at home and quarantining and all that and staying at home. So I was like, for you, this is a huge thing. So that was actually my first story that I did. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome. I've heard so many good things about Coach Capel. Other than when RMU opened their new arena and Pitt beat the crap out of us, but that's here nor there. I was wondering, I asked that because I was wondering, the new person, are they going to give you something really weird? But that's an awesome story. To do that right away must have been really cool.
It was awesome. And just again, because everything going to Zoom, I think that was the weirdest thing was when I finished in Buffalo, I was writing a couple things and I wasn't doing a lot on air my last week or so, but then coming here and it was everything, we're getting so used to doing everything digitally. I'm like, this is such a weird time, but
right.
Hey, we make it work.
I'm still adjusting to the Zoom interviews.
Oh,
Very in-person kind of person. That sounded really poetic. Or you got to play off the social cues of other people. And here it's slightly delayed. And I'm like, oh, now it's just awkward silence. But I mean, what are your career goals going forward? What's something that you would say is your dream event to cover, your dream thing to do while working in the sports industry?
That's a really good question because hockey is my main. I always say hockey and football are a 1A, 1B. And I love football so much, but hockey takes that just the little bit more for me. So a winter classic would be ideal. And I know that the Penguins tend to play in the Winter Classic every so often, which would be so, I get kind of choked up thinking about it because it's such an awesome event. It's so cool. It's what the pinnacle of what outdoor hockey should be, going back to the roots of pond hockey. I think it's just the coolest thing. And then obviously playoff hockey and, covering the Pens this year was kind of so surreal to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm covering the NHL playoffs. This is playoff hockey. Granted, it did not go the way that everybody thought it was going to go, but that's neither here nor there.
That's twice you've said that phrase in the last 2 minutes. I did, then you did. Look at us, picking up on social cues. Just as I said, you can't pick up on them over Zoom.
We're masters at this.
We're breaking boundaries. We're professionals, folks. So you mentioned your social media a bit earlier with #Maction and fun things like that. What's your favorite social media app to use?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's Twitter and Instagram are close, but I think I just got to go Twitter. I think it's also just more relevant with everything. I live on Twitter and my friends are like, why are you on Twitter so much? I'm like, cause that is one, it's work, but also I'm like, that's also how I get all the humor. There's so many funny things. I will say this all the time and my friends look at me like I'm insane, but my favorite Twitter in the world is Bachelor or Bachelorette Twitter and sports Twitter crossover. It's the greatest Twitter of all time. It's so great.
I gave a look of, I'm trying to comprehend that for those who obviously can't see this, but it's weird too, because we played some I don't even know. You can't call it a board game. We played some game you plug into the TV that was on some website. Mm-hmm. And we did a thing called Who's the Most Addicted to Their Phone? And that was one of the questions. And everyone pointed at me. And I said, that's not true. And then I thought about it and I looked at my Twitter data and I went, oh my God.
Yep. The screen time notifications. And I'm like, no, why did I do this to myself? And then I tried and rationalize it. Cause I'm like, oh, but I was tweeting for work. I was at the game tweeting this. And I'm like, it really wasn't as bad. I'm like, no, I can't even rationalize it.
Yeah. That's what I did too. I was like, well, you tweet for your podcast, the student paper here, you're tweeting for both those accounts, then your own. And I'm like, no, 9 hours is a problem. You got to chill. And then I'm like, yeah, I might have a problem. But
it's just it's a good problem to have.
Admitting it's the first step too to making it better.
That's true.
That's what we have to keep in mind.
Yeah, you're on your way to recovery.
Right. We're having breakthroughs here. That's wonderful. But before we let you go here, I almost just asked you what your goals were, which we just went over. I can recite them back to you if you want to make sure I was paying attention.
No, I believe you.
Thank you. Most people wouldn't. I have that face. But do you want to plug or promote anything before we let you go here?
Oh, that's a really I don't know. I always just do my Twitter handle and stuff like that. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm close to 10,000 followers. I don't know. That's not a big thing. I just get excited about it because my friends think it's really funny. But at Jenna Harner 11 on Twitter. And yeah, anything with WPXI, you can kind of follow us for all the Steelers and Penguins and Pitt and Pirates and all that stuff. What you just made a face. I'm so intrigued.
One of the kids that was supposed to be here with me follows your aforementioned Instagram account. And
I love it.
He saw your story and sees the Buffalo game on the TV in your laptop screen, and he goes, "Is she watching Maction while you interview her?"
I have not been paying. I've been glancing up every seldomly. I saw that UB was up 14-3, and now that I'm looking, it looks like Northern Illinois is in the red zone.
Well, I'll let you get to that. Thank you so much for coming on, Jenna.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh my God, this is awesome.
That's what we like to hear. Thank you. Oh, baby. Thank you very much for Jenna Harner for coming on. We have a big announcement to make. And I have the playback still really loud on my laptop. Apologies if you heard that one. Right now, Garrett and John have joined me from Where's the News. Jack is still here, and we have a fan.
We do have a fan.
Who's more of a friend.
That's very kind of you,
The one
Nick.
and only Austin Bechtold.
Thank you, Nick.
Austin, you begged me to let you come on really quick. What do you have to say?
Well, I wanted to come on to talk about you. And I just wanted to say, Nick, how proud that you should be just of yourself and just of everything that you're doing. I just wanted to make sure you got that needed recognition. 7 years cancer-free. Big birthday coming up. Just how proud I am to work under you and probably my biggest friend that I've met here on campus. And just wanted to, wipe the tears. Wipe the tears.
I wish I was better at accepting compliments, but thank you, buddy. That means a lot.
You're welcome.
Did you see how people treated you differently after you got famous off of Where's the News?
Oh, yeah.
Makes a big difference.
Very honored.
Wrong.
Very
anyway,
honored.
That's John from Where's the News for the stranded sports crowd that's here. Jack is whispering sweet nothings into the ears of all. And thank you very much for tuning in as we power past our first half hour. Austin, thank you very much for coming in. The Stranded guys will be back very soon. Very soon.
Good riddance.
After the Where's the News guys come in.
Now.
I have some promises
Now.
made to those in the chat about what's we're going to refer to Ethan, so stay tuned for that. But before we get into anything else, we have a very, 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 very big announcement. You're saying, Nick, that's a lot of varies. Well, it's worth it. If you're watching the screen, you're about to see something change. And if you're not watching the screen, look up now, because, ladies and gentlemen, just a half hour into our live stream, we have surpassed our goal of $1,000. We are at $1,431 already. Thank you so much to everyone that has donated. Let's see if we can hit 2,000. Let's see if we can hit 2,000. Thank you so much, everyone. This is awesome.
You know what's not awesome?
Oh, no.
You know what's not awesome?
How are you going to kill the mood just like that?
The fact that
How are you possibly going to kill the mood?
I gotta get a haircut, Nick.
Hold on, John. Let's tell the viewers at home.
Oh, darn. I have to look presentable, says John.
Let's tell the viewers at home what this means for Where's the News. So for Where's the News, we thought over our stretch goals
Garrett,
for a
by the
while.
way, for those of you that don't know.
Hey guys, Garrett. I'm the guy who doesn't talk during the sports section on Where's the News.
Hey guys.
So you'd never see me on Stranded Sports unless I was as a color commentator, and I would just say purple, green, red. Anyways, the Where's the News crew decided we would make some stretch goals for donations throughout this time. So for
Have you tried persuading them not to vote because you made a bet you didn't plan on respecting?
No, it's not at all. I want them to vote.
no, this is a big bet, and if we raise that much money, you know what? I'm willing to suffer a little bit. if I can help somebody else, I will suffer. That's the Roberts
Those are the best
decree.
kinds of people.
So, whenever we were thinking about it, if you listened to our most recent episode that went out last night, actually, you would have heard that for $1,000, which we've already blown past entirely.
Within 30 minutes, gotta say,
Within
kudos
30
to
minutes.
everyone who's donated.
Thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much to everyone that donated, and thank you very much to all our sponsors, especially Joe and Pie. Thank you very much.
Yeah, as a result of us doing that, $1,000, we said that we would watch all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies and do a series similar to our Star Wars specials where we talk about the movies. I personally am excited because it means that I get to watch some of my favorite movies, which I did not disclose to you guys, that my guilty pleasure is Pirates of the Caribbean, no matter how cheesy and horrible they get.
Is it the theme song?
It's not the theme song.
Oh,
It's Pirates.
Is it the Michael Bolton Lonely Island collab?
Oh, that's two things that do it for me right there. Yeah, the music.
At $1,250, we decided that John's stretch goal would be that he cuts his hair. And if you haven't seen John Blynn's magnificent mane of beautiful golden hair,
Over a year in the making.
You know,
Over
the
here.
funny
See it
thing
go.
is,
Golden?
a month ago when we said we were doing this, John said $1,000, I'll cut my hair. And then I said, I have it on good authority that one of the sponsors is going to donate $500. And he immediately tucked his tail between his legs. Oh, no, $1,250, $1,250. And then we still beat it. And I love John.
Because
But come on, man.
y-
Stick to your word.
in the words of Jeff Goldblum, life finds a way.
Life does find. No, Joe and Pie finds a way.
I love you. I love you, by the way.
Thank you,
That
Joe
got
and
a little
Pie.
hostile, but I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Thank you, Joe and Pie. You actually got
Thanks.
something that everyone here has
Joe
been
and
begging
Pie.
for.
Well, and that was why I picked it as a stretch goal too, right? Because like everyone from back home, my family members, my friends, everyone's saying, John Blinn, it's time to get a haircut. It's time. And I figure, what way to do it than through this charity event? And it's the best way to do it. And I figured, those people who have been nagging me about getting a haircut for so long,
I think they're just looking out for you.
this way they're going to earn it. Everyone gets off this. It's not going in vain now.
And all the money's going to a good cause, so it's even better.
And Garrett, what's going to happen if we reach $2,000?
Well, hold on. You're getting ahead of yourself.
oh, okay.
Wait,
So
I
Nick
don't even
Hedrick's
know what else we said we
Oh
would do.
no, I remember what you said.
Nick Hedrick's goal is one that's kind of unique, but 1,500 is a good way to measure that. For every $500 we get, he's going to run 1 mile,
Yeah.
which means,
Right now I'm looking at potentially 3 miles.
but
Do you know the last time I ran was?
How often
It
have you
was
been
long
working on
before we had to wear
cardio?
masks to the grocery store.
now here's the big whammy, the big surprise. at the
Before you make this reveal, I gotta say, I think as soon as our segment is over, we have to go back in and start making new stretch goals.
Yeah,
because it's clear that we're going to be reaching them by the end of the night.
Yeah, if we reach 3,000, I'll make myself do something even worse. For 2,000, for those of you who don't know, I am gluten intolerant, and it's actually pretty sensitive at
That
times.
was a magnificent way to say that.
Yeah, I can't eat bread, or else I get sick. It's not to the level where it would be dangerous. I would just feel kind of ill for a day or two.
Not to keep talking over you, but I was extremely concerned you were going to cause great bodily harm to yourself for the charity event.
No,
Which is kind of counterproductive considering it's for a children's hospital, but you do you.
I'd just be kind of, near a toilet.
Well, he would go to the big boy hospital.
I don't got to go to the big boy hospital. I don't have to go to children's hospital either. Shout out to them. Even though I do love children's. Shout out to Richie, who actually works at Children's Hospital. This one's for you, buddy. For $2,000, I'm going to eat bread. The breaded items in question, I'm thinking Big Shot Bob's boneless wings.
Oh, dude, why do you gotta do boneless?
Oh,
the one
my
time you're gonna
goodness.
eat something breaded, you're gonna do it
What do you
wrong.
mean? We have officially surpassed $1,500.
Have fun running
Thank
3
you,
miles.
thank you,
John.
David, Kayla, Morgan, and Anonymous.
John, do you realize that the bone-in wings aren't breaded?
Yeah, I could eat the bone-in wings.
You
I
can
don't like
eat-
bone-in wings.
Garrett could just eat the bone-in wings.
But anyways, if
regardless.
you listen to
You
Where's
never
the
had
News,
bur-
you'll know that
I
we
just
love
want to eat
Big
like the
Shot Bob's.
crust of a bread, like just something that, like if he's gonna do it.
Good.
Why would I eat something? Why would I just eat plain white bread?
No, hey Garrett,
Because if you're gonna get gluten-
multi-grain bread, just the crust.
If you're gonna eat gluten, you'd better like get your full intake of gluten. You don't know what
Oh,
you
that's not the
tiptoe
only.
around
That's not the
this.
only thing I'm eating.
Okay.
I'm also gonna get the cheese bites from
Oh,
Sheets.
Garrett, you're toast. You're toast.
Literally toast.
We are at 16.
Oh no, guys, please. I know it's for charity.
Yeah, see, it's all fun and games until your hair is gone.
I believe.
Or you're stuck on the on the toilet because you ate all your gluten.
I'm getting 16
what?
on one end
The
and
tootin'?
still 15 on another end. So I'm going to make sure before I say anything about that.
Okay, guys. But let's take a minute to realize that we're gonna reach these stretch goals. We're gonna film them. We're gonna film John getting his haircut.
I have to film you eating gluten and then having bowel issues?
No.
We're going to have to film
be
that and then watch
in the
it?
bathroom next to the toilet.
We're not gonna film that.
Real
That's
quick interjection.
Let's put a bowl cam in the
You guys might not film it. I'm gonna film it.
Real quick interjection. By the way, for Where's the News
We're walking
listeners,
that line between PG and TV-14 right now.
for Where's the News listeners that may not necessarily listen to Stranded, we mention our roommate Jack every now and then on the show. Jack's with us.
Yeah,
me.
Jack is the other voice.
That's the other
I didn't
voice you're
introduce him because I assumed the Stranded people would know it.
No, they know my voice better than they know any of your voices.
They know it better than my voice.
That's the only reason I'm letting Jack stay. Any other member of the Stranded team, I don't want him. But you know what, Jack? He's allowed to
Jack's
trick
an-
one where he's
Jack
was
is
a
the honorary-
requirement that was laid
Wait,
out by
I
both
had a-
Garrett and John before we started. Was that no other Stranded people but Jack?
recurring
Nothing
guest-
against them, but that's what they wanted.
Recurring
I
guest
mean-
Jack O'Brien.
in your dreams.
We'll see.
the honorary fourth member of Where's the News is Ian.
Ian? Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about Ian from RMU for a second, but no,
Of
yeah.
course.
Yeah, this one goes out to you, Ian. This is for the troops.
I don't even know if he's listening yet.
All right, so we
He should be.
taunted.
I
We
support
taunted
the
John
troops
earlier
down at
about
Duquesne
some
Light
news.
Company.
We taunted John earlier about some news. Now, for those of you that don't know Where's the News, might want to check it out. We have a arts and entertainment segment, which is like movies, music, stuff like that. We have a sports segment, which is very, very self-explanatory. Then we have a news segment. Although we don't get super, super political, I don't want to have any kinds of that discussion on here because we've all heard enough about politics for a lifetime in the last week.
No.
So Garrett found it and I approved of it, found some lighthearted music news about John's favorite band, the Foo Fighters. So Garrett, why don't you enlighten John about what that's about?
I told you were gonna hate this, John.
I'm already irritated with you.
So this
First,
one,
no, listen. Before we do this, I want you to realize the weight of what you're doing. First, you take away my hair. Then you come after my
You're
band.
acting like he pinned you down and shaved your head.
There's going to be a war in the next episode of Where's the News after this live stream. What do you have to say? Let's hear it.
Where's the News releasing on Mondays?
Garrett, what I wanted to say was that what Joe and Pi said before they made the donation was, "Oh, John's hair is my reckoning."
Thank you, Jack. Let's get to this story. This one comes from loudwire.com by Philip. The article is by Philip Trapp. Came out yesterday. Dave Grohl. Foo Fighters can turn into a death metal band if so inclined.
I mean, I'm not going to dispute
So-
that. They could.
Here's how the article goes.
Why is this going to upset me? All right, let's hear it. I'll hear it out.
Dave Grohl is proud of Foo Fighters' musical diversity when it comes to making records. And he's so confident with it that he recently said the act could go full death metal, or on the opposite end of the spectrum, turn into soft rock balladeers, if the band he's led for 25 years were interested in doing so. But instead of settling into some mellow adult groove, or death metal for that matter, on the band's upcoming 10th album, Medicine at Midnight, the rocker instead said, I can't say that word, let's make it a party album.
All right.
He's taking some inspiration from David Bowie and making an album that like you can just sit down and listen to and you're like, I like that album. No particular songs, just like bang, like there's no what if I say I'm not like the other.
Look, when you're making music for as long as the Foo Fighters have been making music, I mean, you're gonna want to try different things. I'm down for this. They released their new sound, their new song on SNL when they were on with Dave Chappelle, and I liked it a lot. And a lot of people were criticizing it because it's different from their usual. Like, don't you say a word, Jack O'Brien.
I don't want to say anything critical. All I'm going to say is that shame kind of sounds like Sunday Rain.
It does. I was thinking the
Concrete
same thing.
It has that vibe to it. You know what I
The thing
mean?
about the Foo Fighters is everyone says they never change their sound, blah, blah, blah.
Every album's different.
Then they change their sound, like, dramatically to
Right.
me, with this, like, string music and the chorus going, oh,
There is
in the
so much
background.
to love about the Foo
And
Fighters.
everyone's like, what is this nonsense?
Right. If you can't sit down and find something to love from that band, for me, I find probably, I guess just more than most to love from that band. But if any single person cannot sit down and find something to like about that band, there's just something wrong with you.
Should we ask the chat if they like the Foo Fighters or not?
You know what? If the chat's going to tell me anything
Actually,
other than yes, then I don't want to hear what they have to
I don't want you
say.
to get more
the
fired
Foo
up.
Fighters are rad.
Everyone who feels inclined, just put your favorite band in the chat. We'll talk about it later.
So I'll read off
Probably
another.
much later, but it'll be later.
I'll read off another quote here from Dave Grohl to kind of elaborate what he's meaning by going, we can go full on death metal. I honestly think we're capable of doing almost anything.
Yeah.
So if we put our minds to it, we can kind of chameleon and turn into a death metal band, or it could be like the Carpenters. So we just have to decide, come together, and make the decision like, all right, which way do we want to go? Which way are we going to turn the wheel? And this time we did it to make a party record.
Look, and that's fine. Like that's the thing that I find. It's the thing that I find so interesting about Dave Grohl. This guy is always just looking to, okay, what can I try next? The guy did a whole song on his own, room full of instruments, 20 minutes long, all one take, just a couple years ago. That's crazy.
When you're as rich and as successful as Dave Grohl, you can afford to do cool things.
Right. Who cares if they put out a different genre?
If you're not a poor college student who really needs to like impress the viewers, hey guys, listen to Where's the News.
Now, Jack, you and I were briefly in a band.
Oh.
Now, I
There was like
remember,
no
I
time
remember
signature
after our,
throughout the entire thing.
after our
because
band
the
broke
person
up-
writing the songs doesn't know what time is.
after the band broke up, Rip the Crank, you said you were going to work on The Wall, a concept album if The Wall continued. How's that going? It's been 2 years.
Essentially, what I did was listen to The Wall way too many times, watch the movie, and said, you know what, I want to do this, but now. Then I realized that it took Roger Waters close to a decade to write that entire album. plus the
Really? One of the
screenplay.
most influential, emotional,
Shut
powerful
up, John.
albums of all time.
Shut up,
Took
all
10
right?
years
Did
to
we
write.
say that I made these comments in a great headspace? Probably not. I probably just said it.
All right.
It's getting
Look,
testy.
to get away from that, what I
getting
want to
very
say, because
testy
we're
in this
talking about
room.
Dave Grohl kind of being great, I think the greatest aspect of Dave Grohl as a musician is his collaborative side. That guy can work with anyone.
Yeah. He's
I
fantastic.
also think
Sound
the genuine
City
want
is a
for
great-
music to grow and prosper is just beautiful.
It
from
is.
Dave Grohl.
He
just
got a
loves
lot of
music.
he got a lot of hate. He took his daughter to a Billie Eilish concert one time, and he said something to the lines like after the concert. He's like,
What's
"All I'll
your
say,
favorite bands?
all I'll say is rock and roll is still alive." And that's what he said. And they were like, "Billie Eilish isn't rock and roll. What are you? This is slander, Dave." And he's like, "No, you're missing the point. It's the culture. It's the passion for music that comes with rock and roll."
He's on his soapbox.
No, it's
No, this is Dave Grohl's words, not mine.
No, it's creative nature.
Exactly.
As long as creative nature is alive, then any brand of music is alive. And everyone's going to have their own preference. They run it through their own brain. No one thinks the same.
Dream collab.
Also, wait,
Metallica and Foo Fighters. Do you think they could do it?
Not now, dude, but like...
Oh, back in the day. Like, definitely not modern Metallica. 'Cause
Dude.
modern Metallica...
No,
James
give-
Hetfield's losing it. He's just getting
give
old.
me 88 Metallica, because they were really angry then. And then... but their songwriting ability was still really good.
But wasn't...
That is the Metallica that was kind of like edging on into Justice. They released Justice, and then they got really radio heavy. We're like, we're gonna have a bunch of radio hits. Yeah, Black Album, whatever, sellouts, whatever. Don't care. The best
he
riff
still
on that
listens to them
album.
day
The
and
best
night.
riff on that album
Was
is
Kurt's-
11 seconds long. It's on Struggle Within, and nobody listens to that song, including myself. But it's the best riff on the album. Anyways,
Was Kurt still alive at that time in 88 with Kurt Cobain?
Yeah.
Was he still
Wait.
alive in 88?
yeah.
Yeah, he died in 94.
So then that collab couldn't have even happened.
All right, well, just for reference.
Well.
That's how the Foo Fighters got started.
Well, if you look, what we're saying is we're talking about a hypothetical collaboration right
oh
now.
yeah, this is the dream team.
So what I'm saying
No,
is
the dream team was the Stranded Where's the News combination. That's
You're
the
right.
best
That
collaboration.
Or
is
the
the
Traveling
dream team.
Wilburys. Or the Highwaymen.
Or
actually
like
Buffalo
Mario
Springfield.
and Luigi's
Buffalo
dream team for
Springfield.
I was the
3DS.
Highwayman. Or the Guns N' Roses with Buckethead.
No!
I have an Ethan story. For Where's the News.
An Ethan story?
Yeah.
Like Ethan who's in here?
Yeah.
E
Like
Entertainment.
New
New guy Ethan.
Okay.
E Entertainment. You mean
E
as of now.
Entertainment.
As of now.
So I produce a news show, RMU Live, and I ended up writing a story
are live.
about a certain music award that took place. I don't remember which one it was exactly, but Dave Grohl was going to be performing there. And Ethan had to come in and record audio for that because he was on the show.
Don't do that to the kid.
So when Ethan recorded his audio, he sat there and, he was in the radio room. I was like, he's probably fine. And he brought it back in and I replayed the audio. We were about to piece it all together. And when I'm listening, Ethan pronounces Dave Grohl's name in this as Dave Grohl. And, that doesn't sound like that big of a deal. But I was like, listen, kid. I don't know new guy Ethan all that well.
It's actually E! Entertainment.
But I was like, there are a lot of other TV producers that will let you get away with this misspoken name. But, I can't let that ride. You got to go record the entire audio again. I'm not going to let you say Dave Grohl on my RMU Live? On the John Blinn RMU Live? No way!
How dare you disrespect my idol? I'll have your head.
Okay, so
Kid made a mistake.
So what if we came on Stranded and went, the Claff from Metallica?
Don't do that.
All right, it's going to do it. That's going to do it for this Where's the News segment. These guys are going to have a fist fight in the back. Coming up right now, you are about to hear a interview with DJ and Kate from Stadium Scene TV. They are a site that promotes and links together smaller podcasts, gives them a platform. Hope you enjoy it. We will be back live in 25 minutes and 12 seconds. It is Nick here sitting down with DJ and Kate of Stadium Scene TV. If that sounds familiar, it's because they've been very kind to us over these past couple years of our existence. That got really deep. But anyway, how are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
We're doing great, or I'm doing great at least.
And those of you who have not tuned into my interviews with them, these two will probably be bickering and talking over each other briefly. So just be prepared for some very awkward pauses while that gets figured out. Anyway, how are you two doing? I just asked you that, so we'll move right on. Again, very professional here.
When we go on shows together, we've now been banned from 2 shows, so we're trying not to make it 3.
Okay, well, as long as you keep retweeting our stuff, that will never happen.
The first one was your fault. I'll take partial blame for the second one.
Baseball player butts were a definite great discussion.
Oh, we will now move on to question number 2, which will not be a repeat of question number 1, which I only repeated because I sprinted down a hill to get back to my dorm room in time to make the deadline that I set for the meeting. But anyway, why don't you guys just get a little bit into what Stadium Scene TV is?
Well,
paper, scissors, rock to see who answers.
Paper, scissors, rock. Isn't it rock, paper, scissors?
I didn't want to critique him because he's coming on our show, but yes.
I was always told it was paper, scissors, rock, but whatever.
You're weird. It must be an Indiana thing.
Whatever. Go for it.
Okay, am I going to get to say what Stadium Scene is now?
Yeah, it's all you.
So we're a network that brings together smaller podcast blogs, vlogs, and tries to make us a bigger fish in the pond, like the shark.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was intimidating.
There you go.
DJ, do you have more to add to that?
Yeah, it's just to give you kind of a little background. We kind of started ourselves off as our own kind of travel blog podcast experience and ran into the problem that many podcasts and bloggers have, in that nobody reads, nobody listens. And, we realized, there's a lot of people out there, and we pick sports. That's what we were doing. And, in the sports world, that get really frustrated when they go and they look at their analytics and they're like, oh, great, my mom and dad listened today, maybe my cousin, but that's about it. So, unless you have a unlimited budget to dump into social media advertising, or know a lot of people or have already built up a social media following, it's really hard to get going. So what we have done is we've created our network where we can all team up together, and we essentially we help support each other through collaboration, appearing on each other's shows, maybe making guest contributions to blogs, etc., and just kind of work together and be that shared resource and kind of help each other build as one essentially large team.
Right. That was a great PR answer too. But I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit. What really made you want to do this, aside from the, I want to help other people grow? Is there any other thing that really made you want to do this as kind of like a side gig?
mean, I'm stubborn. I don't like reporting to anybody. I've always wanted to go off on my own at some point, and that's still my goal someday. But I mean, this was a pure accident. I mean, we this started off as kind of a little side activity that turned into, hey, we might have something here. I mean, it's just, they say that the best discoveries are by accident, and my opinion is it's no different.
And I know we've had you on before, so I didn't want to repeat too many questions. But in total, Kate, how many partners do you guys have?
That's a really good question. And over 100?
I think we're at 125 or 126 the last time I checked.
He's looking at a wall. I'm going to assume that he has them all on a wall and he's trying to count them really quick.
We actually have a dashboard on the site that tells us this number. Yeah, it's 125 partner publications with at minimum 173 contributing members.
Wow.
Not everybody that contributes is registered on the site. So that number is probably closer to 240, 250 individual contributors across those publications. I mean, you guys have, what, 4 hosts as part of your show? 5?
It's rotating.
Yeah.
There's about 4 or 5 on the podcast, and we probably have about 10 in the whole family.
Yeah, and you have 1 registered there, so add 10 to that. So,
right.
Just some other kind of demographics is we have partners across 37 U.S. states and 6 countries.
That's very impressive. And so I know there's different tiers, kind of, at least I believe there still are, where like there's different levels of how much you'll promote for people. Can you explain how that works a little bit?
So we have the MVP program. And so we have paid membership and free membership. The paid membership, you can put up a lot more. The free one is 2 or 3 posts, I believe.
Depends on what you're doing. If it's a blog, we give you 5 a month. If it's a podcast or a YouTube or a Twitch channel, it's 2.
Okay, and I like one thing about what you do is it's kind of like everything. It's not just like, if you're a blog, come here. If you're a podcast, come here. It's kind of everything. And would you agree that that's kind of the way everyone should go? Because like we do, and again, here we go, self-promoting our own crap on our own broadcast. I mean, we do podcast, video, blogs. I mean, from your experience, one thing's really not going to make you stand out anymore.
Right, exactly. And it's like, even if you use your blog to promote your podcast, I mean, that's, if you get into like for example, I'm going to talk a little technical here, which is going to bore the hell out of people, but Kate's falling asleep.
That's bold to think you haven't already.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So search engine optimization is just a fancy, it's SEO. It's just a fancy word for, hey, where is your site going to show up on Google? And it's tough. They're constantly changing the rules. If you're publishing if you are on, a podcast, for example, Apple, Spotify, that's all going to show up high, but your podcast isn't individually, unless it's searched for specifically or something comparable, it's not going to show up there. I mean, if you type in Stranded Sports Podcast, the first 5 results in Google will probably be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and the other ones out there.
Right.
I mean, it sucks. It's hard, and they change the rules every 6 months because basically Google is trying to stay one step ahead. That people that are much smarter than we are at this make their entire career trying to figure out how is Google doing it now. Then when somebody gets close or enough people figure it out, they just change the rules for how they rank sites. And then now you spend your next 6 to 9 months figuring it out again. Google changes it once more. And it's really difficult. And people that are writing blogs or doing podcasts, many of them are great at writing. They're great at speaking. They're great at producing video, but they're not technical people. We're more technical people. We try to help with that aspect of it. We focus very heavily on trying to drive traffic onto the site to help you get seen. And going back to your original point, it's being just one is very limiting for yourself. The tools with like Anchor FM, it makes podcasting very easy. Anybody has a webcam now. I mean, you have an iPhone, you have your Android, you can make YouTube videos. I mean, it couldn't be easier nowadays to get yourself out there. Getting found, on the other hand, that's a little harder.
I agree. If anyone has ever had the misfortune of hearing one of my how we got started rants. But anyway, I mean, you talk about all these different countries and places that you have had shows come into and talk to you. What do you think is the most unique show you guys have on your platform?
That's a good question. They're all so different.
They really are. I mean, I'm going to tell a story here that this is like really what the point when I knew we're doing the right thing here. We have a partner they live just outside of London, the game day tourist, Mark Lawson. We stumbled upon each other's accounts very early on when we were working on this, and we stumbled upon him on Instagram. And he started working with us. And Mark, basically, he releases a podcast every so often where he talks to people around different countries, different cities in the U.S., and talks to them about like, hey, you know, if you come to Chicago, you can go to Wrigley Field and blah, blah, blah. We've been on his show twice. That, you know, we've been banned from the show because of Kate's comments, but not really.
I didn't think we'd revisit that this soon.
So another soccer podcast that we had met up with and joined the site, a member of that show actually went over to England to do kind of a football tour. You know, so we call it soccer, they call it football, and go see some games and spend a week. He went to London. He met up with Mark and had dinner with him. That never would have happened if it wasn't for our site. And I just think that is just so cool that we, you know, brought two random people on the opposite sides of the world together because of a common interest of podcasting and soccer.
Right. You talk about the common interest. What made you two kind of do this in addition to your day job? I mean, like, how did you make this such a big conglomerate of sorts?
So we actually know each other from our day jobs. And DJ, former for DJ. And we would go get lunch all the time. And DJ starts talking about this idea at lunch. And at the time, I was really into programming. So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Sorry, go ahead.
And then somehow he thought I'd be good at talking. I don't know why.
Wow.
No, just to kind of expand on that, you know, I've been the last several years trying to, you know, set something up on my own. And I had just come off of let's just say I was part of a team that was trying to develop a mobile app that just it never got off the ground. It was a total flop. You know, this was an idea, just for the travel site. I mean, it wasn't much of, you know, I didn't really have anything. I mean, I initially thought of this and had been sitting on it for about 10 years. I thought of it in college, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, this was aging myself here. This was pre-smartphone technology. So I'm like, hey, we could build a website. And then it turns into mobile apps and all that. And it just kind of started from that. I'm just me kind of rebounding off of a failed venture. And I'm like, you know, maybe it's time to pull this out of the mothballs. And, you know, I just pitched it to Kate, and here we are.
And that's awesome. So I told myself I didn't need the right questions because I've talked to you so many times, and I'm going, did I get over this very basic question yet? Yes or no? So that's a note for future me, I suppose. But you have talked to me before about a very cool incident you had with the Steve Bartman game, and I would just like to hear that story again, just for those that didn't hear our first interview. And Kate rolled her eyes, meaning she's heard this too many times, so I apologize.
So when this was 2003, the Steve Bartman Cubs game 6 of the, again, 2003 National League Championship Series, Cubs versus the Marlins. Cubs have a chance to go to the World Series for the first time since 1945. Steve Bartman, unfortunately, wrong place at the wrong time, holds his glove or, you know, hand out to try to catch a foul ball, may or may not have gotten in the way of Moises Alou. You know, Cubs botch a double play ball. They lose game 7. Everybody blames Steve Bartman, wrongfully, in my opinion. And I think after emotions calmed down, I think most people agreed with that. So I'm like 18 years old at this point. And my buddies and I, we were living in Indiana. I called in sick to work. I was working at Circuit City. Again, I'm just making myself seem so old here. I called in sick, and we drove up to Chicago. It was about a 3-hour drive. And we were going to try to buy scalp tickets on the street so we could be in there for the game. And they wanted $450 for standing room only, and I'm a broke 18-year-old. So we stood out on the streets on Waveland Avenue behind left field. I mean, I'm probably, I don't know, 500 feet away from where this incident happened. And, we're chanting, we're yelling. There's a kid sitting on the side of the street corner watching the game on a little battery-powered TV. Really noisy, and all of a sudden it just boo. And then all of a sudden you hear chants of, are you profanity, yay, nay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
All right. I wanted to, charity live stream. I don't know if swearing is the best, but hey, if you're cool with it. So all of a sudden we just start hearing the chant of asshole, asshole. And
I thought that was going to be a lot worse. That was great.
Oh, no. It will get worse. It will get worse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
You hear the asshole chant coming from inside the ballpark. I walk over to the kid, and all of a sudden this kid who's probably 12 years old goes, "Some asshole fan grabbed the ball away from Lou." Moist salute. And I'm watching this replay on this, this TV that's like, 2 inches across. And, I have no idea what to think of this. And then, man.
Old age got you?
Yeah, memory lapse here. But yeah, and then all of a sudden, this kid's just like, that motherfucker dropped the ball away, and just, everyone's losing their minds. And then Cubs blow it, game's over, and we're all walking back to our cars in silence. And it was so eerie. Like, it was just so quiet. Like, it happened so fast that you're down to the last, like, 5 outs or whatever. And then it was over. And, it just, everybody, the wind was out. Everybody just knew this was over. And they're probably going to blow Game 7 because it's the Cubs. And they did. And just that, it's just like, I was there outside the ballpark for that. So let's, fast forward 10 years later, ESPN's running a 30 for 30 movie about the game. It was called Catching Hell. I'm not watching it because it's still kind of, it's still a sore subject at this point in my life. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to relive this at this point. All of a sudden, I start getting Facebook messages, texts, and said, "Hey, we saw you in the Steve Bartman documentary." I'm like, "What?" And so I go and I find a copy, and people are taking pictures of their TV, and sure enough, at the end, they air a collage of fans that took pictures of themselves sitting in the Bartman seat, which I did like a year or two later. I went to a game and I had seats in that area. I went down and I sat in the seat before the game and posed, and somehow I still to this day have no idea how, got a hold of that picture, and it was put in the movie. So it's like now I am linked to this for the rest of my life and beyond the rest of my life. So, hey,
Well, at least they got a ring. At least they got a ring later.
Yeah, they obviously won in 2016, so it doesn't hurt nearly as much. But it was a wild night, and as long as my brain doesn't go out on me, that's something I'm never going to forget.
That's one of my favorite sports stories by far. Not only the Bartman thing, but your personal account of it. And we talked a little bit about the most unique, people you have on your platform. But I think a big gripe a lot of people have with the media industry is that a lot of it's just white males talking all the time. But you have a lot of diversity in your shows. I mean, how does it? I think I know the answer, obviously, but what's it like to give people a platform that might otherwise be overlooked as oh, you can't do sports media for this reason or this reason. You're a woman, you're, someone of color. And, those people don't get opportunities, unfortunately, as much, it seems, in the sports industry. And you guys basically allow so many different people to be on your platform. So, I mean, what's that like for you to give people an outlet that might not get one?
I'm going to defer that one to Kate, just because you don't want to hear an opinion from a white male.
So I do have to say my favorite episode that we've ever recorded, actually there's a couple of them, but one of them is we had a couple of the women podcasters all together for a roundtable discussion. We muted DJ so he couldn't talk.
I thought about doing that myself right now.
But he did find sound effects at some point and would butt in that way.
I only promised that I would not speak during the episode unless there was a technical problem. So I did not break my promise.
But it feels great to be able to help others find their voice and be able to share their message.
Definitely. And I've started listening to a couple of those shows, and it's awesome just to hear how enthusiastic people are about it. So we'll wrap up a little bit here. So why do you two personally love sports and, pursue this in addition to your jobs? I know we got into that a little bit earlier, but what for you makes you wake up in the morning and go, I still want to do this and still want to make this grow? And as DJ touched on earlier, maybe even do it full time one day if it ever gets to that point.
I'll start since you seem like you're thinking about your answer. So, I mean, it's just, sports has always been a big part of my life, growing up, and it's, dad taking son to baseball game, that kind of thing. Playing, I played soccer from age 4 until I was a senior in high school in organized leagues. And I've always been a big sports fan. And when I was looking at careers, I'm just like, I don't want to do communications. I'm more of a technical mind. At that point in my life, I'm like, I was absolutely petrified to get in front of a camera. Now there's a camera that I will never turn away from, or I guess I'd never turn away from a camera or a microphone anymore. But as an 18-year-old, that was not the case. So I went into engineering as a result. I don't regret that decision by any means. And I would say that background has really helped, especially, doing the technical part of this. We built this site from probably 95% scratch with a few little, templates help here. We built in all kinds of automation that all these sites that come in, maybe 1 or 2 a month, I have to manually classify it, and we might get 1 or 2 wrong, but everything else is automated. I don't do a thing. We sign them up. You put in your feed, and we just say all you need to do is just keep publishing great content. We'll check. We check for blogs at the top of the hour. We check for podcasts 20 minutes after the hour. We check for video at 40 minutes after the hour. We see something new, it's on the site right away. And it's by automating this and spending all that time on the automation up front, now I can focus on building these relationships, filming shows, and actually like getting out and meeting people, which has probably been the most rewarding part of all of this. I do maintenance on the site here and there, make changes as needed, but I'm not spending a lot of time coasting the site along. It does it itself.
So for me, I'm also a technical person, engineer as well. But I keep coming back to Stadium Scene because it brings together something I'm good at, technical, with something I like, which is sports.
That's awesome. And so the big question that we've avoided is, how the hell do we sign up? How do people join that might be listening to this and have never heard of you but are now completely sold?
Do you want me to? Okay.
Go for it.
You would go to our website.
You tell me I talk too much, so go for it.
You go to our website, stadiumscene.tv, and we have a link right there. You fill out the form, and you're signed up.
I can't vouch for that. That is indeed how that works.
Yeah, there's just a big banner in the corner. We put it through a review. We just use it as a way. We let everyone through basically, but it's our way of making sure that we're not bringing spammers in or hate speech or anything, promoting illegal activity. So we use that check as kind of a way to control what we're bringing in. But after that, we accept you finish your profile. That's really about it. We have resources on there. We publish the contact info of all of our partners, their email addresses, Skype accounts, social media, that you can make it really easy to, if you need a guest for your show, like I said, there's 125 shows with 170 plus contact infos on there. and you get access to that on your free account. We don't even charge you to have access to that piece. So we really push the collaboration piece very, very strongly and encourage everybody to kind of work together to build each other up. I mean, we live in a society today where everyone, especially this week, or I guess this will be last week when this airs, where everybody's at each other's throats, threatening each other. And, we just want to try to create a positive place, as corny as that sounds, to just kind of help build people up and help them maybe, chase their dreams of becoming that, that next big broadcaster or that journalist or whatever they want to do. Or even if it's just a hobby, give them a place to meet people and have fun.
My fridge just made the weirdest noise I've ever heard, and that is why I just looked absolutely baffled. And I was really enjoying your answer and was getting really into it, and then that started, and now it's doing it. Okay. Well, thank you two very much for coming on. Do you have anything else you want to promote before we let you go here?
Yes. Give us a follow on social media at Stadium Scene on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. At Stadium_Scene on Instagram. That's a long story I'm not getting into. Check out our show, StadiumScene.tv's main event. You can download it wherever podcasts can be found. You can check out our channel on YouTube, search StadiumScene.tv, and watch the video of all of our episodes. We have a TikTok account, but we don't use it. We're going to leave it at that way.
All right.
I'm too old for TikTok.
I like to say I am too, but I'm only 21, so I'm not sure how well that excuse will work. Well, anyway, DJ Kate, thank you very much for coming on. Have a good one.
Thank you.
We back in the studio with the stranded guys, which means
I'm still here.
Which means it's time to talk football. Football, once again, the only major player going right now. First things first, I made a deal with someone in the chat. Ethan, one of your new nicknames, potentially, is E.
E.
Just E. How does that make you feel?
I mean, I would be okay with it, but, maybe get a little bit more creative. I don't know.
EA Sports. Sorry, I was a little close.
I mean, we could spice it.
I've been advised to step
spice
back
it up
from
a
the
little bit.
microphone.
Just E.
Throw a little cumin on it, spicing it up.
E. I kind of like E. It's
It is.
straight to
It
the
is.
point. It's the first letter of your name, E.
Yep.
Just hits.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So that's in the running. But I've been told people call you E.
A lot of people do.
Okay,
A
so
lot of
like,
people do.
Emo.
So a little bit of spice wouldn't hurt.
you see, I'm a big fan of calling people running nicknames that might make them mad, but I also like creating new ones that just confuse them.
Uh-huh.
Like yesterday we were throwing around Flounder,
Right.
which that makes no
Makes
sense.
zero
There's no
sense.
reason to
Yeah.
call you Flounder, but it just people were kind of getting a kick out of it. Anyway, NFL time. Do people get a kick out of Tom Brady getting ballywhopped by the he plays for the Buccaneers, by the Saints? So it's been a hot commodity all year long. It's been fun watching Tom Brady lose. Not like the Buccaneers are terrible, but Mr. I like 7 NFL teams, Connor Lawrence, is here today.
Wait. Say
to
it
tell-
with me. Say it with me.
Who that?
Oh, that just destroyed everyone's ears. I'm sorry, everyone. Everyone's favorite Steelers and Saints fan somehow. Connor, it sounds like you have something you really want to get off your chest, so why don't you tell the beautiful folks at home?
I told him.
Let them
Let
know.
him talk.
I told him. Y'all thought I was crazy whenever I said Drew Brees is handing Tom Brady 2 losses in the regular season this year. Granted, there's still some time to go here. But, man, did I feel good waking up Monday morning. I'm glad to see the offense is back, but I'm even more happier to see the defense show up. My goodness, shut them down.
What did Breeze do? Didn't he hit like 9 different receivers by like the 10-minute mark of the second quarter or something?
And he was on fire.
He's on fire. They had to extinguish him. But back to the main question. Do we have fun watching Tom Brady lose in Tampa Bay? To me, it's not the same. If he's not losing with New England, I'm kind of like, that's not the team that deprived me of a fun childhood by beating the Steelers every time they played them.
Like, I'm gonna cancel out your with an it feels pretty good. I like seeing it happen. I do. This is a guy who's been able to dance around, like, the league actually coming down on him a couple times here and there. He's been on one of the, he's had my favorite team on the receiving end of most of his greatest triumphs. This doesn't faze me. I like watching this happen. And I said after Sunday, I believe, are the Buccaneers pretenders? Because it looked like they were in the running for a while. Then you see them play their their toughest division opponent in the Saints.
And that's what I like to see. I like to see Tom Brady be challenged in his own division. For years, he had to play the drowsy Buffalo Bills. We'll describe them as that in the politest way possible. The AFC East. With the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills, and the New York Jets. I like to see him be challenged for once. The first
time. Are you telling me Mark Sanchez wasn't a challenge when he beat him, twice?
Not in the slightest.
Chad Pennington!
He didn't beat him twice. This is the first time this year that Tom Brady has been swept in his career.
I saw that.
You mean to tell me
that's incredible?
You woke up on a cold 2007 afternoon and didn't think that John Beck instilled fear into Tom Brady? Come on.
I would say that Rex Ryan and his foot fetish would have struck more fear in the heart of Tom Brady than anything else. And he did beat him twice. But I digress. You bring up a really good point in him being challenged in a division. And this is probably one of the first times, maybe last year with the Josh Allen Bills, if you can even say that Bills team was challenging.
They were really good.
It was
only going to get worse for him in New England, in my opinion, this year.
And here, you look at what New England's doing now. You're seeing how Cam is struggling so much, and Belichick even said it.
Just scraped away with the win this past Monday.
Yeah. They sold out, and they won 3 Super Bowls. I like watching Tom Brady lose, but I think the Bucs are starting to look like pretenders.
I mean, I love seeing Tom Brady lose anytime he steps out onto the field. But especially with the talent he has around him, it's even better. Like with Antonio Brown now, and with Mike Evans, all of them.
He's got all his pals.
Yeah, he's got all of his people around him that he needs to win. But you saw on Sunday night, there was nothing to show for him.
Is it the defense?
That was touted to be one of the top defenses in the league. They were compared to Pittsburgh.
Has been very good.
They were compared to Pittsburgh.
Last night they just struggled. They've been a pretty solid defense up to this point.
No, their defense has been good.
I've been reaping the rewards from that vis-a-vis fantasy, but they have had a very good defensive season, but offensive side of the ball, they've sort of just been inconsistent.
I mean,
how about Tom Brady? He walks onto the field, and again, I've started to acknowledge the greatness that is Tom Brady. If you disagree, you disagree. I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, we've had this conversation many times over.
You can find
we'll
it
leave it in the dirt.
They go, Tom Brady has thrown 3 interceptions. 2 of them were week 1, and 1 of them was in week 2 or week 3, whenever it was. Since then, he hasn't thrown 1 or something. He throws 3 interceptions on Sunday night, and some of them were ugly. I got a little. I'm not he's losing. Yeah. But there was a little butterfly flying around when he made some bad
butterfly
plays on
effect.
Sunday.
If those 3 picks and the ones that looked pretty bad, if that's not a miscommunication, then that's on him.
The one I believe, I can't remember. I think it was Malcolm Jenkins picked them off. He threw it across the field, very unlike characteristic of Brady.
Yeah, he kind of he-hoed it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see that too often from him. Or any veteran quarterback.
He said Gronk's got to be down there.
But,
or Antonio's got to be down there.
Yeah. I mean, to wrap this up, I think that what the Bucs look like right now, when that offense isn't clicking, it reminds me of the Steelers last year. Granted, we're bringing it back to the Steelers, but at the same time,
here we go.
A good defense with a really complacent offense. And as someone who's not able to answer, no matter how good your defense is, if they're on the field for that amount of time, they're going to get tired, they're going to make mistakes, and those mistakes are going to be costly, especially in the NFL.
Absolutely. And it was the anticipated return of Antonio Brown. I predicted 3 receptions for 70 yards. He was close. 3 receptions for 31 yards.
Fair.
But, it was weird seeing him in number 81 with the Buccaneers. That's just not like someone where I expect Antonio Brown to be.
You know what it really like gave me a feel of is like he's trying to be like T.O. and he is so not T.O.
TD.
He is not.
Throw me the ball.
To me, the whole entire situation, it just ruined his reputation, in my opinion. Coming into Sunday night, seeing number 81 on the field.
Ruined his reputation.
For T.O. and his hyperbaric chamber.
His past actions.
Whatever
whatever
potential reputation
coming into the game. No media coverage necessarily. No hype up around him. Nothing of that sort. But seeing number 81 on the field and saying, "Oh my gosh, that's Antonio Brown." Thinking a couple years ago, man, he's the best number 1 wide receiver in the game.
AJ Brown better.
Now who is it? Michael Thomas.
Okay.
Showed him up.
We're gonna look past.
Moving on.
I like what you did there.
We're gonna look past that. I'm gonna punch you like he did his teammate. Just kidding. No acts of violence down here. Who dat nation? Or is it Steeler Nation? I don't know. It depends.
We'll go to that next.
I know.
Well.
Anyway, we're getting to the Steelers who had. And again, I love the Steelers. I'm not here.
Very, very Steelers Sunday.
I'm not here to have any.
Here we go.
I'm not here to wish ill will upon anything. But how is Vance McDonald out with illness and then they let him hop on a plane and fly with the team to Dallas? That just sounds like it's not smart.
Training staffs make some dumb decisions.
There's people a lot smarter than I am running those teams, doing everything. But no offense to Vance McDonald either. But you're willing to risk it all for Vance McDonald?
Training staff.
How is he not left at home?
Look,
Exactly.
How is he not left at home?
Exactly.
What I can tell you about this is, look, I don't know why the reason to let Vance McDonald travel with the team to Dallas is.
He had one target.
But you know what I can tell you? I got the Pittsburgh Steelers right now for the first time in franchise history. Super Bowl.
That was awful.
All I have to say
that was the most
is that
Homer thing I've ever heard, and I feel bad for everyone here that had to hear that.
Look, it was an ugly win, but at the end of the day, what do we say?
his training staffs
The win is a win.
Dumb decisions
But
sometimes.
stomaching that win.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's the same. Look, I don't
just
want
did not
the same
sit well.
result for Baltimore that you get in Dallas.
It did not sit well.
I'm sorry, I cut you off, Tyler.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say training staff makes dumb decisions sometimes. I know a team that sent a talented player across country to Denver with a concussion. And, so that's in my article.
Yeah,
my article.
but dumb decision in COVID times. Like, why would you send him when he's ill on Friday?
Dude, I don't know. Like
Send
I
him on a
said,
plane.
training
He's
staff.
not asking you, Gal. You don't have to defend the action.
Oh, he said, "Why don't you?"
And to have him sit in the locker
Gallo
room
on the
next to your
stand
starting
like he's on
quarterback.
Judge Judy, apparently. I'm just saying, like, and again, the Titans held theirs very irresponsibly, and the Steelers were the ones negatively impacted, and were like, oh my God, they just screwed our whole season. We lost our bye week, 13 games in a row, rah, rah, rah. All you had to do was not let your tight end fly around the country with the rest of the team after he's out for illness, and you'll be fine. All they had to do was not make a dumb decision to make them look like hypocrites, and they managed to do just that. Again, I love the Steelers. Everyone makes mistakes. I make mistakes, but this is a really bad mistake and a really big oof.
It's an oof, but at the same time, Ben tested negative. We have no clue if this is a result of the incubation period of this virus or not. But what I'm more concerned about is his knees. That's an issue. And if he gets touched against Cincinnati, I don't feel good. The Bengals already tweeted out a video of someone shining their shoes with a terrible towel.
That was TJ Hushmanzada.
TJ Hushmanzada!
I got really mad watching it.
Also known as TJ Hushmans in Madden. Because I couldn't fit his whole name. Fun fact.
I did not know
really hope that his
Him and
knees hold
Roethlisberger
up
actually
for Sunday.
both,
This is where that bye week really has its effect, in my opinion. You know, these guys like this, especially Ben Roethlisberger, veteran quarterback here, they live for that. You know, if they're especially injured throughout the season, they need that week of rest. However, I think personally, even before this came out earlier today, I was saying we should just rest him this week. Can't risk him. And the second part of that also happens to be that it's a blessing. We are 2 weeks away from the Ravens. And it just so happens if he tests positive for the virus after this, 2 weeks in protocol, and he's back for that game.
Yeah, and like the silver lining of this is, and it's not a silver lining, it's more of like a really sad lining, is that you might drop a game to Cincinnati.
And that's the sad part.
And this is going to be your first loss of the season.
And that's a division game, though.
I know.
It is a division
That's
game.
a bad game to lose that you don't need to lose. I would say the Jacksonville game would
And
be a much better time to lose.
Joe Burrow
if there
is
a
very
good time to
capable
lose.
of
I know.
producing it.
He is. And
Imagine Joe Burrow with a line.
He's dangerous.
Really good.
He is
really
still,
good.
He's still really good.
He's competitive.
Dude, he's got T. Higgins. And he's doing fine. And I don't know. I feel like at this point, and this is just me, because a video that a social media intern for Cincinnati posted, it got me angry, is that you cannot lose this game because they're already disrespecting the towel, and that makes my blood boil.
I mean, if Ben's out, you turn to Mason Rudolph, who has been told, or Mike Tomlin has said, that he will get most of the snaps during this week in practice.
Ben's out.
As
Ethan
well as
beats
the
me up.
as well as the rocket scientist Josh Dobbs, he will get some snaps in practice as well.
I love
So,
Josh Dobbs.
I mean,
if Ben's out, Ethan beats me up.
I would honestly, after seeing Mason Rudolph throw a football last week, I would go with the rocket scientist in this situation.
What needs to happen for them to call up Duck?
Rudolph throws 2 picks. Dobbs comes in and fumbles.
Who's there? Is there? Dobbs doesn't dress usually, though.
No, he was
No.
inactive.
So will they
But
dress
Hodges-
him
But
now?
Duck's still on the practice squad.
Hodges,
I know, but-
Hodges was the next guy up in Dallas.
Was he dressed?
Dobbs was inactive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I guess they flip-flopped
they been dressing
that
all
third
three?
spot.
No. I don't even think they were dressing Duck.
Well, no, I know they haven't been dressing Dobbs, as far as I know.
Oh, God.
Dobbs wasn't dressed, Duck wasn't
But
dressed.
I don't know of
think.
them ever calling up Duck from the practice squad and suiting him up.
I mean,
I just know he was getting in Twitter arguments with Mark Madden again,
yeah. But who
with Attitude Era WWE gifs.
who doesn't get in Twitter arguments with Mark Madden nowadays if you play for any kind of other than, second string on a Pittsburgh sports team?
Him and
Especially the
Zach
I have a
Steelers.
smaller
Hysterical.
announcement to make, though.
Hysterical. What would that be?
I might hop back on a team's wave.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I'm sorry for. I could see visible groans from Ethan
A team's
right now.
wave?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Go ahead, who is it?
You already know who it is. I don't really need to say it, but the Miami Dolphins. I think I'm gonna go back in. You know, I was out after they traded Jarvis Landry because he was my favorite player back in 16 and all those years, and I was like, at this point, what's there to watch? But there's reason for optimism because Tua Tagovailoa looked really good against Kyler. And they really gutted out that win. Their defense has been phenomenal over the last couple of weeks. I just think, you know what? Now's the time. Now's the time.
I will say that Brian Flores has this team moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Great
coach.
I know a lot of people saw him as more of an interim guy where he wasn't going to be there for the final product, but at this rate, why wouldn't he be that guy?
Dude, he's been just there.
This is becoming
his
the
team's on
house
a
that
roll.
Flores built.
Yeah.
Past from the house that Marino built.
Yeah, exactly. Past the house that Sperano built.
Yeah, precisely. I think it's entirely possible the Dolphins see some very lucrative seasons in years to come. It depends on how well they draft.
Yeah. And frankly, they do have 2 first-round picks this year, but obviously with the way they've been playing, it's not going to be low ones.
Yeah.
Or high ones. But they can still net some pretty good players in those picks.
Yeah. And who helped them get one of those first-round picks? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, boy.
I can remember. A guy who was so integral to that win on Sunday, Minka Fitzpatrick.
My play of the game.
Talking.
Unbelievable.
They kept talking.
Everyone was saying,
They said
"Where's
he was-
Minka? Where's Minka
They
this
don't
year?"
throw
Well,
to
there
him.
he is.
They don't throw to him.
They don't even look at him. They're scared of him.
He got toasted twice this year, and they made a big deal about Minka's washed, waste of everything.
Oh.
They don't throw towards him. They don't throw towards him.
That guy's always around the ball.
He's a ball
Why do you think that fumble goes right into his chest? Because he's there. He has the awareness to be around the play.
People also were saying that was so lucky that he was right there. He was running to make a tackle. The dude had been in a mid-sprint and got hit, and Minka was running in to make a secondary tackle to help with it. Of course he was right there.
Minka knows exactly what he's going to do after every snap. That guy is so good. I am so happy. Everyone who hated that trade, you're stupid. You don't like football.
Oh, boy.
Minka!
I
love him.
He certainly, he didn't get off to the strongest of starts in Miami. And I think a change of pace was perfect for him.
I think in this defensive scheme, it's absolutely perfect for him. Just kind of letting him roam around. And whenever, essentially what they have him doing right now is if he sees any trouble area, he is supposed to go in and help.
He's a ball hawk.
Every time he's gone in for that help or even potential help, it's cost him, twice, like you said, this year, where he made a bad judgment call. And then every other time, he's the second security blanket.
Right.
I pissed off Ethan by announcing the Miami Dolphins. I can't believe it.
I want someone to look in my eyes the way that Gallo has been monitoring Ethan's eyes and facial reactions for these last 10 minutes. Luckily, I found that person, but it's all good.
Ethan's preying on my downfall.
Anyway, we have two big-name receivers in very different scenarios coming back to the NFL. Want to touch on them. Those men in question are, of course, Antonio Brown and Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant signed to the Ravens practice squad. AB to the Buccaneers, but then Dez Bryant gets called up right away. Both of them, not huge factors, not really factors in the game that they were back.
Bryant was inactive.
I'm aware. That's why I said it wasn't a factor.
I'm
sorry. What do we make of these two? Are we happy to see them back? What do we expect to come from this? What's going on?
Something we said when we talked about Dez Bryant being signed by the Ravens was he's going to take on more of a wide receivers coach role, but he's listed as a potential player. I don't think he's going to see much action unless 2 or 3 people go down with injury. I think he's pretty low on that depth chart to begin with. Yeah, he the Ravens, was the NFL's Twitter account, put up a video of Lamar Jackson throwing him a ball in warm-ups, but I think he's just there to mentor young guys like Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood.
I
do that in instinct. Sorry.
We've seen how Brown isn't really on the best terms with his offensive coordinator after the Steeler game, but I'm not going to blow that out of proportion like everyone wants to. I think it's just emotions ran high. It was a game they thought they could have won, which they could have won easily. And, emotions leaked out onto social media, but I'm sure they covered that in a team meeting of some sort. And you also have a great mentor in Dez Bryant, who, at the end of the day, was a very good receiver in the NFL. I don't think Dez Bryant's going to see much playing time.
I'm right there with you.
I would agree, especially the state of the injuries he had. What was it, an Achilles when he was with the Saints right away?
And it was a practice.
Yeah, and it was a practice. People are starting to come back a little bit more from Achilles injuries, but you definitely lose a step still, I feel like. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to pretend I know a ton about it. But then you take in the fact that he's already 31. I don't think he really fits the Ravens style as more than like a coach.
That's the whole key, too.
The Ravens are things break down and we make something out of it. Lamar does what Lamar wants to do. He'll find an open guy if he wants to. I don't know if Dez Bryant's going to be the dude that's going to start running all over the place with his bad leg and going to break free.
They have that fast-paced mentality.
Yeah, they have a very fast-paced, try and keep up with us mentality, and I don't really think that Dez Bryant fits in with that, but he's a very good name to have to maybe, put butts in seats if they ever, let in more fans when his tenor's still going on there. And also, he was a star in Dallas. So he's definitely someone that can mentor younger players like Hollywood Brown. And like you said, I just think that he's going to fulfill more of a coaching role, and maybe him getting back on the field's more of a feel-good narrative to have, and he's only going to get a couple snaps a game.
Speaking of a couple snaps a game, I think that's a restriction with Antonio Brown as well, because I know that Bruce Arians doesn't want to use this guy at all.
But Tom Brady sure does.
I don't know.
Brady does, but Arians does not. And Arians has already voiced his opinion on this, where he says you have one shot. The first slip-up is your last.
It was intimidating watching that broadcast because they're like, oh, yay, Antonio Brown's back. And then they're like, Bruce Arians, who Antonio Brown has clashed with in the past, says he's very impressed with his maturity. He thinks he's grown, but if he messes up, he is gone.
One of my favorite things about this little pregame interview with Arians, they're like, Coach, you brought in Antonio Brown, a lot of controversy surrounding it. What was the decision now rather than a couple months ago where you guys brought him on? He's like, well, we were a lot healthier a couple months ago. He said injuries have driven us to make this decision, which I want to believe, but also...
I think Godwin is a fair case with his finger and
but
concussion.
No.
And I know he had a third injury that I can't think of off the top of my head.
But the thing is, you got guys go down to injury, and then instead of going to the next guy on the depth chart, Tom Brady walks in and goes, hey, there's a Pro Bowler free agent out there. Go get him.
That he's familiar with.
It's exactly.
Also, he'll live in my house. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, and like he draws up this outline for it to work, and it might win you games at the end of the day.
He's making more money than Cam Newton, I believe, too.
Oh, that's sad.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he's making more money.
Also, the downfall of Cam Newton is such a sad thing to watch because he was so good.
I wouldn't call it even a downfall.
I wouldn't call it a downfall either.
I think
he's right now it's a low point. This is a low point.
I think what
for
stinks
Cam,
right now
dude.
for Cam Newton is the Patriots will 100% draft a quarterback if there's a good quarterback.
Yeah, I know, and they don't want to invest in him because it's the injuries behind him. They don't want to invest in it because they feel like he's injury prone or something like that. But God, dude, I feel like if someone just invested in the time with Cam Newton, he could erase the Manning Super Bowl and say that it's Cam's Super Bowl.
I just think it's the selfishness that comes with his character. Just feeling the need to carry the ball 24/7. It's like, granted, I know they don't have the rest of their prime receivers anymore like Tom Brady had, but that's what I see it as. And Belichick just kind of goes along with it, and it is what it is. The rest of the team puts faith in it.
Do they really have weapons around him, though?
No.
They don't have Edelman even
Edelman's
anymore.
Banged up.
The only guy I trust with the ball on that team is Cam Newton and probably James White.
N'Keal Harry's the other one, and they haven't utilized him. He was hurt last year, and it's like, that was their draft pick, and didn't get to utilize him.
I just hate seeing Cam go to a different team where people thought he was going to do really good, but it's more of the same where he doesn't really have the weapons around him besides like maybe a running back and one receiver.
He looks like he's getting comfortable with Harrison Bird.
Which is good.
Harris, the running back, Bird, the receiver. And they made note of that at the end of the game,
yeah.
like he's looking a little more comfortable. But you know damn well those mistakes he made against Buffalo and for some reason you're going to do a goal line leap at the 4-yard line against the Seahawks and land at the 2 and be nowhere near the first down or the end zone. Those are going to get blown out of proportion because people like to hate on Cam Newton. I think he's a polarizing player. Maybe he's lost a step, but he's still better than some guys.
His style
and
of
they'll
play,
fight for that.
His style of play, in my opinion, just does not fit the New England style. Whereas rushing quarterbacks...
I don't think he fits Belichick's style.
Exactly. Whereas rushing quarterbacks, for instance, in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, they throw in that threat with the running back as well. New England's run game, awful.
They don't have a committee. They have a whole Supreme Court of running back staff.
Inexistent, and that's where it fails at.
One thing I want to bring up, because we just said that a running quarterback doesn't work in Belichick's system. Are they even looking at a guy? Granted, the Jets are going to have the first grab at him, but if it does come down to New England's pick and Lawrence is still out there, do they take him?
They're not going to get Lawrence.
They don't. Look, I'm just
Everyone's
hypotheticals.
They're not
talking about hypotheticals.
Everyone's
going to get
preaching
Lawrence.
that Connor Lawrence.
Connor Lawrence. Cousin Trevor.
Trevor Lawrence to the
Connor's
Jets.
getting drafted.
It's all right. I made that same mistake with Connor Lamb. So,
is Are they going to give up on Darnold yet? Is my question. Because they kind of got rid of every single piece that they could have accomplished.
How are you going to give up on the guy when you haven't given him any kind of protection?
How are you going to give up on Joe Flacco?
I think they drafted
elite quarterback,
They drafted
Delaware
a
legend.
couple line people.
His favorite play: throw it up and get PI.
They got rid of They got a couple, guys on their line, but they got rid of Bell. They let Robbie Anderson walk.
Robbie Anderson's.
What are they supposed to do about Sam Darnold where they could say, this is your fault? They're like Josh Rosening him.
Well, how about get rid of Gase first? I think that's
I don't know who Gase has turned on, but there's no way he should still have a job.
No,
Sorry,
he shouldn't.
Adam Gase.
He's got crazy eyes.
I mean, get Gase out of there. Give Darnold at least a chance to show what he's got under a decent coach or a better coach than what Gase was, because I don't even consider Gase as a coach. I mean, give him a shot with someone else, a different person running the offense, calling the shots on that side of the ball. But if things don't work out with him, it's time to move on because his career is going nowhere at this point.
That's fair. I'm trying to think of quarterbacks that would fit New England in college right now, aside
in all honesty,
from Trevor Lawrence.
I can see Trevor Lawrence, and the only way it could be
who are they going to
perhaps is to move Stephon Gilmore. But I know they expressed interest in not doing so this past trade deadline.
I wouldn't in the sense that I had a lot of guys. If you're
the New York Jets, you're not getting rid of this pick.
No, if I'm Bill Belichick, I have a lot of guys who opted out of the season on my defense. I feel like the defense would be a lot better if these guys were here. I'm not moving my best corner.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets need this pick, but you need to use it wisely.
Their fan base.
You can either give up on Darnold, go get an asset, or build for the future.
So right now, they have Trey Lance going to New England with pick number 8. But Trey Lance,
looking at projections,
of course, plays for North Dakota State, where Carson Wentz went, a powerhouse in the FCS.
Hey, nobody hates touching the football like Carson Wentz.
But I kind of like Mac Jones from Alabama to the Patriots, if possible.
What's he play?
Quarterback.
Okay, I don't know, dude. I haven't been watching college football this year. My season's over. My season's been over. Thanks, Connor.
Season's been over before it started for me. The only win was against Michigan.
Season's great.
That's a combo. That's a combo for a different
Notre
day.
Dame Fighting Irish.
Oh my God!
They just keep winning. They just keep winning.
Trevor's in that game, man.
They hate him because they ain't him.
I'm not even. Oh my God! And after everything I said this year, where it's like, oh, it might be a shortened season, but it still counts. No, if you have any kind of successful season, you finally join a conference. And
why are you talking to me like I make the decisions for Notre Dame
football?
You do,
and you.
I've been an advocate for them joining a conference, and the only time I don't advocate for them joining a conference is when it makes people like you mad, and that's exactly why I talk around you like that. Exactly why.
Grumbles.
Do you guys know how much money we've raised? I don't want to do it.
Just an addition here, too.
It's going to ruin everyone's night.
Oh my God, no.
1738.
Man, he really just made that song and dip, didn't he?
Yeah, no, thanks.
We
end with it. We end with a Notre Dame pump and a meme.
Now we're getting feisty.
The night's ruined. I'm going to bed.
I don't think that's necessary.
I just saw this one here. If you guys saw the proposal last week, the NFL owners approved a proposal to add 2 playoff teams, 8 in each conference, if the regular season games get canceled because of COVID. So, no teams, no first round buys. I don't know about that. Not good.
I'm not comfortable with that.
He's not comfortable.
I'm not comfortable sitting next to this Notre Dame scum either.
Settle down. Settle down.
It's not.
We can look past a lot of things.
Number 2 in the nation. You should just feel better about your season where you keep playing down to competition, losing to Indiana.
Do you think Harbaugh needs to go?
Yes!
Wow. All right. Well, John from Where's the News is due back in 2 minutes. Oh, he's right here. There he is. There's the man. There's the man. He has arrived. Gallo graciously gets the door for him halfway through. Stranded boys, your shift is over till approximately 11:30.
Is Garrett coming in too?
If you need Garrett to come in. Me and John can just chat. Briefly, I suppose. So yeah, me and John are going to have a discussion apparently. John said he needed to talk about something. So you're in here. You're in here. So here we go. Here we go. It's time. John and whatever he has to say.
You know when McCutcheon came back and he said, "This is my spot in center field." Well, yes, John, this is my spot. So fine.
Wow. Big John, ladies and gentlemen, has returned on behalf of Where's the News. And I, for one, am intrigued. John, what brings you back in outside of your time slot?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to, reclaim my spot that Jack seems to be clinging on to over there.
Yeah, it's still my spot. I'm over here.
Look, I think we know who the rightful owner is.
Wow.
Me.
We don't need to be uncivilized about this.
Where's the News is? I've been here way longer than you.
Anyway,
oh no.
While we were gone,
I carved my name into the bottom.
Look, Jack, it's not about how long things are around. It's about the impact that they have.
Oh my God! Shut up.
So Garrett and I came up with a couple more stretch goals while we were out. And the first one that we have is for $2,150. This is, again, on top of Garrett's $2,000 goal. He will eat bread if he gets $2,000. $2,150. Something nice and simple, but something I feel like those of you who know me personally will look forward to indulging in. A Where's the News Christmas special. Not sure what we're going to do with that yet, but we will figure that out as it goes, and hopefully we get to see how that goes. And lastly, we've been talking about doing this for a while, but I think it's time that we actually commit to doing it. We're going to start making Where's the News merchandise, similar to what Stranded does, but I mean, we're gonna tailor it a little bit more to our show. And in light of that announcement, within the last 30 minutes of the live stream, the 3 people who donate the most within that 30-minute period of 11:30 till midnight, the last 30 minutes of the live stream, then we will give away the first 3 shirts that we make to those people.
Wow.
Yeah, exciting
That's a
stuff.
Big ask.
It's probably asking more than...
You have a chance to own history. Also, right now, if you're listening, for the record, John's friend, who has become my friend, sorta. I don't know if he considers me a friend or not.
I don't think he's back yet.
Ian, who made the first ever Where's the News shirt.
Yeah, and not to discredit that by any means.
Article of clothing, we all signed it. Maybe we'll sign yours, I don't know. But the first officially licensed Where's the News t-shirt is on the line, is what you're telling me right now.
Right, so like, we wouldn't really trademark Ian's, but however, we do hold Ian's original design near and dear to our hearts.
We will.
That is definitely history to that podcast.
If we're ever rich and famous, we have to sell those.
Exactly.
Give him a big chunk of the royalties.
For sure. He's going to make a lot of money one day off that.
Hey,
or it's going to end up being like Beanie Babies.
Would you say that you're so rich and famous, Robin Leach will get jealous?
Of the rich and the famous.
But no, yeah. Not to disrespect Ian's t-shirt at all, but the first ones that we as a podcast make, we'll be giving away that first design for the 3 highest donors.
I like it. So that was John of Where's the News. We're now going to send it to an interview with Sam Anthony, an MLB Network researcher, and someone who has taken up a new company, a small company trying to make their way through the Pittsburgh high school sport market by broadcasting live games. We will be back at roughly 11:25, I want to say. But anyway, enjoy this interview with the one, the only Sam Anthony. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been bullcrapping off camera for about 10 minutes, so now it's time to actually start being journalists. I'm here with Sam Anthony of the MLB Network. You've probably known him because he's always our guy that we talk to when we want to hear a different voice. And he's also here because he has a new endeavor we're going to talk about. But first of all, Sam, how you doing?
Dude, I'm good. Hey, man, Joe Biden's president. I can't complain.
And we're going to bring in the politics very early on this edition.
Right away. We have to establish ourselves. They know who I am. Oh, my Twitter.
For the record, this interview is taking place probably 20 minutes after they announced Biden had officially won.
Oh, we're just not going to pretend like it's live.
No, we're not going to pretend. As the sun hits your wall, I think that's a difficult thing considering the stream will be going on at 9:00 at night.
That is a good point. I'm sorry I didn't go into a darker room. I should have been prepared.
No, you're fine. But anyway, Sam, how's life been?
Life's good, man. Hey, man, we got through baseball season, we got through hockey season, and now we're just, we're enjoying it. We're enjoying the off season, waiting for when hockey's going to come back. Hopefully, we're hoping January 1st, maybe like Classic to open it up. But we'll see, and baseball will be back in March, so we'll be good.
Right. And so what are you doing during this downtime? Like, do you still go in, or are you kind of just doing whatever now?
Yeah. So we still have our off-season content that we're doing. For some reason they chose to air our award shows during the presidential election, which was a bold move. I'd love to see the viewership on that. We do, our top 100 players, our top 10s and positions, all sorts of stuff like that. So there's a ton of great off-season content that they do. They do a really good job and they keep us busy. And so, it's weird because usually, baseball season would end and we just get right into hockey. So now we're in this weird, there's nothing going on. Like usually I'd be like bouncing between the two. Now it's just, it's a lot of baseball for me this off season.
What's wrong with that?
No, nothing wrong with that, man. Alex Cora's back as the manager of the Red Sox. We're excited about that. Let's go. Free Cora. Hopefully Boston makes some moves this offseason. I'm going to tell you right now, I can guarantee you the Pirates will make 0 moves this offseason.
That's bold.
Hey man, when it happens, you'll be like, wow, 2 straight off seasons with no free agent signings. And we'll be like, yeah, we got some minor league deals. Maybe they'll sign Derek Holland back to another minor league deal.
Jeez.
The Dutch oven, baby.
Oh boy. Well, before we get into the 15 minutes of you plugging your new endeavor, I think we have to talk about some of what happened in the MLB season there. Dodgers win the World Series. People say it's tainted. There's no way you think that, is there?
No. Dodgers win the World Series. They were the best team this year, and you had the 2 best teams in each league in terms of record go play in the World Series, and it was great baseball. I mean, at no point was it not top level stuff, and all the games were great. I mean, look at the NLCS and the ALCS. They both went 7 games. I really think that there was a chance if a couple things go Tampa Bay's way, maybe they don't pull Blake Snell. That's always going to be up for debate. But it was fun. It was honestly a lot of exciting baseball. It's not tainted, and it was great. And the fact that they did this in the middle of a pandemic and put it together, especially after the way it started. You got to give a lot of props to the people at Major League Baseball for making that happen, and especially down the stretch, it being relatively safe. We're not going to talk about Justin Turner and all of that because that was not a good idea. But that's all I'll say on that is that was not a good idea. But yeah, it was good. It was exciting.
And being in there, working at the network and everything, being a researcher. That fancy word. I mean, were there any storylines this season that really went under the radar that should have been talked about more in terms of like a player who was appreciated or anything along those lines?
Honestly, one of the most fun things about this year was a lot of the young guys that came up. I felt like even if your team wasn't very good, everybody had like a young star. Like look at the Boston Red Sox, who, by the way, have an awful farm system, but you had Bobby Dahlbeck come up and homer in 5 straight games, which like no Red Sox rookie had ever done before, which is incredible considering some of the Red Sox that you have played on that team. Even the Pirates, you got Ke'Bryan Hayes, who was great. I think if he played all year, I think he wins Rookie of the Year in the National League.
I think
Alec
so too.
Bohm for the Phillies, Devin Williams for the Brewers, Garrett Crochet for the White Sox, Casey Mize and all the players that they had come up, Tariq Skubal for the Tigers. There were so many like super good young guys, and like it was fun because like you get that in the regular season, but it's more spread out, and you were getting more guys making their debuts because there was no minor league baseball. So that was the only way these guys were going to get reps. I mean, there was always the rumor if the Rays were going to call up Wander Franco, or if the Orioles would bring up Adley Rutschman. And like it was cool and it was fun. And to me, like even when your team was bad, it at least gave you something to watch and tune into.
Absolutely. If Key Brian Hayes didn't get called up, I probably never would have watched a Pirates game after the first week. But
I've debated every day turning my Twitter account and just to a Key Brian Hayes Stan account because I think he's just so fun to watch and he'll be great. But I don't think the rest of the team will be very great. Maybe Jameson Taillon. I'm in on Jameson Taillon. I think he's just had a lot of bad luck.
He just needs to get healthy.
Yeah,
for any length of time.
Yeah, I think they got some decent pitchers in that squad. I'd love to see what they're going to do this offseason. I liked how they drafted. And I trust Ben Sherrington. If you're a Pirates fan, I trust Ben Sherrington. Remember, he drafted Mookie Betts in the 5th round. So think about that.
I think the problem with the Pirates is that they've just been bad for so long. People want an instant turnaround. And anything less than that, everyone's going to be like, this sucks. What the hell?
Yeah, and they're a small market team, and their owner does provide unique challenges. I think look at a team like the New York Mets. The Mets just got new one, who's now the richest owner in baseball. They're going to spend money this offseason. They're going to go for guys like JT Realmuto, and they're not just going to go for him. They're going to go make moves. The Mets are going to be very good next year. I really wouldn't be shocked if they compete to go win that division. I don't know if they do because the Braves are obviously super talented. But they're going to be better than the Phillies, who, are still looking for a bullpen, but now will be without JT Realmuto most likely. And if he goes to the Mets, that's a super blow. So, the Pirates, that hurts them, but also, they can operate like a Tampa Bay Rays team. It's all about turning your organization into that and finding those guys. And I think Ben Sherrington's on the right track. They're really trying to clear out the payroll right now, get rid of contracts like Gregory Polanco, even Josh Bell, when his contract's up. Going through arbitration, it'll be interesting to see what they do with him depending on his performance. But they're gonna try and find like low budget guys. I mean, I liked the signings, like getting Jared Dyson was great because they ended up getting to trade. And, you get some minor leaguers for him to value. You never know. I think moves like that are really great for a team that, especially this year, wasn't going to compete. I'm excited. I hope that they draft Kumar Rocker. Not only is he going to be super talented, but have you ever listened to him talk? He's going to be a fun guy. He's going to be a fan favorite in Pittsburgh if he gets up and goes and plays for the Pirates.
Absolutely. And so another free agent I want to talk about is Trevor Bauer, who is possibly the best self-marketer in all of baseball.
Yeah.
And brings controversy somehow wherever he goes for what he attempts to do with his brand momentum. What do you make of Trevor Bauer in terms of the self-promotion he does, and what do you make of where he ends up this offseason?
One, I think Trevor Bauer is brilliant. I love a lot of what he does because he, one, makes baseball interesting. Two, he understands the fact that players are brands, much like the NBA understands that players are brands. And I think that's super important. Watch Momentum is great because what it does is it gives you another side of baseball and the coin there. If you aren't following his agent, Rachel Luba on Twitter, that's another great follow because she's pretty outspoken too. And their message is great. Like they're not afraid to challenge Major League Baseball, which I think is good for the sport. I think there's a lot of resistance to challenge something. And I think that's the only way you're going to get change. And you're starting to see more, for the lack of a better word, more momentum in the movement.
Wow.
And
you should see the smirk on his face when he said that.
I was really clever.
It was. I admire it.
But where he goes this offseason, that's tough. I'm biased and I'm selfish, and I would love to see him go to the Boston Red Sox. I don't see that as hold on. There we go. There we go. I lost you for a second.
You're fine.
Where I see him going, I don't think he fits with the Red Sox. I think as an organization, I mean, I don't know with Chaim Bloom that maybe they fit that way, but I think he ends up Toronto. That's my honest guess. It's a fun young team. He can go win. He'll be paired with Ryu. I think that'll be the best 1-2. I mean, Ryu's a Cy Young finalist, and honestly, the best 2 offseason pickups in terms of pitchers this year, it wasn't Garrett Cole. Either of them. It was Ryu and it was the Twins getting Kenta Maeda and the Mookie Betts trade. Those guys so outperformed their expectations, and for what you were paying them were so good. And I think the Blue Jays will go out and get them, and with those young guys, I think they're going to be really scary in the AL East.
I think so as well. That's a fun division.
So much fun. It's so good.
And Blue Jays are like a random team I always support, and I love Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero Jr. So Trevor Bauer on that team would be very, very interesting to say the least.
Oh my God. The person that it would be fun. It would be a really fun team. And there'd be some killer vlogs from Trevor Bauer. I think it would be great.
I think there would be too. I don't think I missed one of them. That's just how good they are.
No,
I
they're
love
great.
Amir Garrett because of them now too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. He's great. He was on Starting Nine, and that was a pretty good interview too. And it's great, man. Baseball has personality, and it's great, man. Like you want to see more guys like that, and less guys like Tony La Russa getting a job back in Major League Baseball.
It's fair. It's fair. So one thing I want to ask you, it's kind of a big picture question. I know you're a big picture guy.
Oh yeah.
All these other sports are starting their seasons later, probably going to take a bigger chunk out of baseball season when baseball is the only sport in town. So let's say, these leagues see success with this and they decide to stick with it even in a post-COVID world. I mean, do you think that these schedule changes could potentially hurt baseball in the long run, or do you think things will go back to normal?
Things will go back to normal. I think the bigger concern for Major League Baseball is going to be the labor disputes after this following season. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. People still tuned in and watched. The World Series did better than the NBA Finals. And while everyone kind of suffered in terms of viewership, to me, that shows that there's still a need. And, and again, things will get normal again. And that's, same with the NBA, same with the NHL, all those sports. So yeah, right now it's just kind of like it's power through it,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now it's time for the PR segment.
All right.
You and some friends have started a new media mogul, I can only assume, a new media company. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
So it's me, it's Nick Milliron, it's Spencer Witt, it's Aiden Patel, and it's Trevor Young. And we have started this company called Iron Sports Network. And what's really great about it is so we're airing high school sports in the Pittsburgh area. So far we've done one. It was Deer Lakes versus North Catholic. And our idea is, again, finding schools that aren't necessarily, that are looking for and have a need to broadcast it, because people want to watch their team on a Friday. And if they don't want to, if you're North Catholic and you don't want to go out to Deer Lakes, you're going to want to be able to watch our stream. And we want to provide something that, has, good quality, good graphics. And yeah, so we got our second broadcast November 16th. It'll be Butler versus Mount Lebanon, PIHL hockey, 9 p.m. Make sure to tune in. But yeah, no, we're hoping that, we can see where this goes with this. And, what's exciting is, you get to do it with all your best friends from college. And, it's something that you're really excited about. You get to make it, and you get more of a say in what's going on in the broadcast. So it's cool. We got guys like Nick Milliron, who's worked World Series, and I take my experience from MLB, and you have Avon, who has a ton of technical experience, and Trevor, who does work in college athletics, and Spencer Witt, who is a phenomenal play-by-play guy, if you ever heard him on RMU, and just to take all that stuff and that passion and turn it into something that's really exciting.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know all of you personally, so those of you that are watching and going, who the hell are these people? You have to trust us when we say they're good dudes. Unlike Sam, we really can't say the same for him. But no,
there's been reviews against me. It's like 2-star Uber rating. It's not good.
So with all this, it's basically like you're your own boss kind of thing you're doing with your friends. I mean, how awesome is that to maybe just see where this takes off to?
Oh, it's a ton of fun. And it's like one of those things where we hope it's successful, and we hope that it becomes something. But if not, the fact that you get to do a venture with a bunch of your friends from college is super cool, and it's fun. So whatever happens, we're just having a good time and enjoying it. And if anything, you're just learning stuff along the way. I think the biggest thing I can preach to people that want to work in sports is always be trying to learn new things, because the industry is constantly changing. And it's great. I learned so much stuff from working with Avon and Nick and Spencer and Trevor. And it's awesome. And it's super great. I wouldn't change it for the world. It's a lot of fun.
And obviously there's a lot of competition out there. A lot of schools, or I know Baldwin around here has their own streaming service, and we and you talking as friends. We are friends, believe it or not. Well, he's my friend. I don't know if I'm his friend, But I mean, it's challenging breaking into the media world. So what are some challenges you've faced so far, and how have you overcome them?
Ooh, challenges I've faced. Honestly, just the competitiveness. I spent a lot of time still applying to jobs and trying to find different opportunities to work. And you can spend a lot of time getting to the front of the door, final interviews, and not getting it. And the biggest thing I've kind of had to learn is that, don't take everything so personally. And, no isn't the end of it all. You need to, everything's an opportunity to learn. I think I'll emphasize that a lot is, you're always going to get more no's than yeses. And so, a lot of the success in this industry is being persistent, and not being afraid to take criticism. If you don't get a job, don't be afraid to ask, hey, what can I do to improve? What can, people are willing to help in this industry if you want to help, and network. There's really great communities out there to reach into. And so, learning those things and just being persistent, because it's tough right now. I mean, ESPN cut 500 jobs this week. A lot of good people lost their jobs. But there's always going to be sports, and we're always going to get back to that point, and the landscape's changing. So just being persistent. Sorry, that was a really long way to just say, be persistent.
That was good. Also, Sam can see into the future, because I was implying what are challenges that you face with Iron Sports Network, but this man just went and jumped into a further question of what I was going to ask him was, in your personal career, what advice would you give? So that's really good on you. So with Iron Sports Network, again, we're giving you free PR here. What are some challenges you guys have had there that you've had to deal with?
Honestly, I mean, we're so early. I would say the biggest challenge, one at first, was just establishing, who you are. It's so hard to contact these schools and be like, yeah, like, we've never done this before. We've done it once. And we want to broadcast your game. The people at Deer Lakes, I give them a lot of credit. They were great. They set us up. They were super excited about it. Because, the AD was like, yeah, man, like, usually I have to do this myself and set up a stream. And I think it was really great for him to just be able to let us do it. And it was great for us. And, so I think finding those relationships that work, but it's hard. I mean, like, Nick Millard spent a lot of time emailing schools and being like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, we haven't heard back yet. So, those are the challenges, just trying to establish yourself. But our first broadcast was good and it was successful. And so we're hoping that we can kind of build on that and keep it going,
Absolutely. I watched the first broadcast, at least part of it. Then my phone died. I was out getting cider. But anyway, that's just how dedicated I am. Anyway, how can we find the Iron Sports Network, and what are your future goals for it?
Yes, you can find us on YouTube, Iron Sports Network. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Twitter is at Iron Sports Net. And so, we're trying to make sure that we get our content out there, cut some highlights, people can kind of see the best of, and promote our stuff. Yeah. So if you were to go on Twitter, toss us a follow, toss us a like on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. That would be great. And again, November 16th is our next broadcast, and we're hoping to kind of keep that going, get some stuff going in hockey, a basketball season. It should be exciting.
Absolutely. Sam, always exciting talking to you. Do you have any final words or self-promotion that you would like to do before we let you go here?
Oh man, nah, dude. I gotta plug you, Nick Hederick. You guys are crushing it at Stranded. I'm loving the stuff you guys are doing, getting interviews, lots of good content. And you're just finding different ways to get engaged, which is super interesting to me. And again, I think you're a guy that's persistent and, like you said, always learning. And I think that's great, man. So just keep plugging away, man. I love seeing it.
Wow. Sam giving me clout on my own charity live stream. Thank you so much.
Charity too. That's really great. Like, and I love the fact that you're out there promoting these things. And what was it? Was it today you were putting out about like being an organ donor? Was it?
Yeah, that was yesterday, because yesterday was the anniversary.
Yeah, I just think that's great. It's the same thing. Like, they ran a story on College Game Day today about David Shaw, the head coach, giving bone marrow to his brother who had cancer. And it's just one of those things where, like, anything you can do to help somebody to save a life, like, do it, because again, it makes a huge difference. And for like us to do something, for me, someone like me to do something so little to help someone, it goes a long way. So I think that's great for you, encouraging those things.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sam. We appreciate it. Sam Anthony, ladies and gentlemen, let's clap. We'll clap him out as we fade back to the live commentary of the stream. We are back for the home stretch. The home stretch, which is 37 minutes. I can math, I promise. 37 minutes of non-stop raw organic podcasting, Stranded Sports Way. It's how it's done. It's how it is done.
That's how it's always been done. That is our.
It is.
It's our brand loyalty.
We never stop.
It is
with
our
the
brand
raw
loyalty.
organic podcasting.
It's a live stream, so we're going to react to what happens live here.
John has just trotted back in.
What gives you the right?
Last time I checked, the big grand finale was in like 7 minutes. So
Last that I checked, all the interviews were guesstimations, John. That's right.
Look at a guy who doesn't know math. Yeah, bet you don't know that word, guesstimation. That's a mathematical term.
When we do the grand finale, I'm going to sit right in your spot.
No, you're not, because this is my spot, and I'm not giving it up. I'm going to sleep here.
No one has called seat check, by the way. And I don't know if I'd respect it. Anyway, big finale time for the next 36 minutes.
Shebang.
Yeah,
Shazam.
Here we go. Connor has been working very hard on one of the most anticipated episodes of every year, the Stranded Sports Awards. Obviously, today, I don't think we're going to finalize everything. We're going to say
it's a work in progress.
We're going to say where we're at. The thing is, these are going to take place in December. It's going to be done over Zoom. It's going to be a whole production. But we wanted to get our thoughts out there, give you the chance to comment on our social, on this video, about what our thoughts are so far for nominees, and just the categories we picked. Are we missing anything obvious?
Ooh.
This is kind of a late edition. Yes, Jack?
I have my own addition to the Stranded Awards, but I'll bring it to the table when we discuss.
Okay, which is right now. Connor, why don't you run us through the categories and
let's get right to it. I need like a female voice, like now announcing the nominees for the Stranded Sports Awards.
I can give it a whirl.
Go ahead, Jack.
I don't know if I want to hear this, but go ahead.
I apologize to anyone who may or may not find this offensive, but just and mourn a while with me. Garrett, do it with me.
Lady, time out. We're back. We're back.
We are back.
So I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong and I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Beautiful. We're back.
Beautiful.
We're back. There was a connection issue. We are back.
Jack serenaded
And in
us.
the meantime, Jack started singing, and we just couldn't let it go without finishing the chorus.
For reference, where it cut exactly, because I was watching the stream, is Jack says, some might find this offensive, but...
Oh, thank God.
Oh, thank goodness they did not hear that. But we're back. So, on to our nominees for Comeback of the Year. Remember, in this category, we do both players and teams. So, the first nominee, Ben Roethlisberger. The Tampa Bay Rays versus the Houston Astros in the ALCS. Alex Smith. The Chiefs' 24-point deficit versus Houston in the AFC divisional round. The Utah Jazz versus Denver, it's the other way around, in the Western Conference semifinals. And the Tampa Bay Lightning. Gentlemen, what do we think of that so far?
Is that Denver and Utah game? That's the battling 50-point efforts.
I believe
Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell. Oh,
just crazy.
That's
overcame a 3-1 deficit.
That is a tough one.
We'll keep it quick. Moving on to weirdest moment. Just three choices here. A March without March Madness.
Uh-huh.
Life in the bubble. NBA, NHL return to play plan.
Uh-huh.
The NFL's virtual draft in 2020.
Can we get the Red Sox, dude?
We can consider
Can we get
that
guy
as
that
well.
climbed into Fenway?
Climbed the Green Monster and broke into Fenway and threw hats on the field.
I think that needs to be on there.
When you're
definitely
discussing
include
And then there was also one
I think maybe
We will
also,
definitely
was
include
it
that.
Russell Westbrook that was crap-talking small children and families of the teams he was playing while in the bubble? Because that needs to be on there, too.
He
We'll throw that.
screamed at families that were made up of just women and infants, and perfect.
Yeah.
Also,
We got
the
a
guy
good
that
base.
this one probably shouldn't be on there.
Where's
but
that Pat
There's a
Bev?
guy that broke.
No, Pat Bev was yelling
That,
at.
like, I believe
Westbrook.
drunkenly-
No, wait, no. Pat Bev was yelling at. Who was Pat Bev yelling at?
Can we get a late entry on
We'll figure it out.
Tony
We'll figure it
La Russa
out.
getting a DUI and
That's
saying I'm a Hall
you
of
know
Famer
what?
when
That's
pulled over by the
developed.
cops?
Yeah, we can consider that today.
Brother, what are you doing?
We can consider that today.
As of right now, I think we can consider that.
Definitely. Everything's still in development. The year is still going on here. DUI charge. There we go.
I mean, weird moments.
The whole pandemic.
Rom hit a hole in one today.
I wouldn't call that weird.
I wouldn't call that necessarily
it's
weird for
weird-
this
weird,
for
but
this
Jack on
purpose.
all
A
That's
hole in
pretty
one at the
skillful.
Masters. A hole in one at the Masters.
That is
it's
Yeah,
pretty
in a
weird.
practice round.
maybe in the
Was
maybe
it
in
the
the
best golf
next
shot I've ever seen? Perhaps, but it was a
I'm
practice
just
round.
saying. It's
maybe
weird.
in
weird.
the next category here.
Maybe.
Biggest surprise. The nominees are Tom Brady signs with Tampa Bay, the Tennessee Titans throughout the NFL playoffs last season, the Dallas Stars making it to the Stanley Cup final, and Doc Emmerich's retirement.
Maybe put the Rays on there too.
I could put the Rays
Maybe
on
put
there.
the Rays
I
on
considered
there.
How
that.
about
They are on a
Kevin
couple
Cash?
other ones.
Kevin Cash yanking Blake Snell.
That should be the "What are you doing?"
I'll
moment.
tell you what. Maybe
Ooh,
that
I
may
got
be
a new
another category.
I got a new category if we can find the resources.
We'll figure it out.
The Who Are You People of the Year, someone we totally forgot about that played pro sports that made national news again. If we can find anything.
I like that.
If
We're
we
onto
can find
something.
anything.
We're onto
Welcome
something.
to
We're
the
building
Stranded
it.
Sports business meeting.
This is essentially what the last half
this
hour
is
is
it.
going to be. Where's the news will also be on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You be quiet back
Connor,
there. It's
let's
not
keep
your
powering
time.
through.
Next category, biggest letdown. Lot of nominees here. The Pittsburgh Penguins, the Edmonton Oilers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox, the Baltimore Ravens, and the New York Yankees.
Man listed every team from every sport that didn't
Basically.
make the playoff. Well, didn't make
Did
the playoffs.
very poorly.
The Penguins and Oilers.
There were a lot of teams that there were high expectations this year,
You're not wrong.
and they fell
You're
short.
not wrong. They did.
All right.
We will dim them down to 4
How
over
many
the next
more?
couple of weeks.
How many more categories do we have?
We have probably about 2 or 3.
All right. Let's.
Three
I
more.
got my one at the end. I wanted to bring it at the end.
We'll keep going. Game of the year. This one's been very tough. This past weekend, Notre Dame defeats Clemson in double overtime. The Rays' epic 8-7 walk-off win versus the Dodgers in Game 4 of the World Series. And Super Bowl 54, the Chiefs claiming their second Lombardi Trophy in history, the first in 50 years, defeating San Francisco 31-20. Any additions here?
Not off the top of my head.
It's been tough. It's been tough thinking of really good games this past year.
I can't think of one. I mean,
The pandemic really didn't help.
yeah, it kind of takes away from the sample size of what you can pull from.
We kind of had a break in between the beginning, for instance, the NHL and NBA conclusion back in March.
Right.
Technically.
It's hard to think of games before all of this just stopped.
Exactly.
Because I mean, just
It
very
overtook
quickly-
that thought.
Exactly. Very quickly, just I was watching a highlight reel yesterday, on, a couple days on YouTube, and there were these games. I was like, oh, I went to that game, and then I look at the date, and I'm like, wow, that was eons ago.
I forget that
Exactly.
there was real life this
Yeah.
year ever at any period.
Honestly, you forget about the beginning months of the year.
Nick, we went to February. We went to February. We went to New York.
We went to New York 5 days before the world went
Exactly.
down. That's my claim to fame. That is my claim to fame.
I'm immune.
Next category. Athlete of the year, pretty straightforward here. LeBron James, Patrick Mahomes, Mookie Betts, or Leon Draisaitl.
I have
Any
and we
Contend
discussed this earlier. I have half the mind to switch out Draisaitl with
for
McKinnon.
We talked about this. It's very arguable. The only argument in this case would be that for both sides,
that McKinnon lost.
they both lost.
They both lost. And so, I mean,
Draisaitl getting, MVP.
Yeah.
Finishing with over 100 points, but very tough in the hockey realm, at least in my opinion.
it's a very
No
hard thing to
clear-cut
pin
winner.
down. That's why it's so hard to pin down who's at the top
Yeah.
of the game, because someone does something spectacular every night.
Which is great
and
at the same time for the game.
You have
So-
you have a great saturation of incredible talent in the NHL right now. It's great as far as middle of the pack, as far as age goes, but also young talent as well coming up into their own.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Finally, team of the year. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Los Angeles Lakers. All the champions.
All the champions. Well, Chase Elliott of NASCAR fame's not on there. Lewis Hamilton of F1 fame is not on there.
Here we go. Team. I'm kidding.
What do you want to talk about? Michigan?
Oh my God, that was a low blow.
I know.
All right,
wait till Notre Dame loses a crappy game.
Wait! It's my turn. The first stranded sports award that has nothing to do with sports. The top Miley Cyrus moments of the last 2 decades.
Was that your big announcement that you teased
yes,
at the beginning?
Yes, it is. And here's my nominations for the 3. These are my nominations. All right.
I'm so nervous.
The first one.
We've had such a good night.
Is in the Hannah Montana movie, where she goes into the revolving door and doesn't come out for at least 2 to 3 whole minutes. The second Miley Cyrus moment of the past 2 decades is the VMA Awards with Robin Allen Thicke, whichever one it was.
Robin Thicke.
Robin Thicke. The third Miley Cyrus moment up for this award is her covering the Cranberries' Zombie.
That's my pick because that's a beautiful cover.
The people have not voted yet, Nick, and you do not have a say in this. Like, subscribe, and comment down below what you think the top Miley Cyrus moment is. That's all I have.
Follow us on TikTok,
Follow us
Google
on TikTok,
Hangouts, whatever you
Instagram.
kids use nowadays.
I have MySpace. If you're all on it, I doubt it. No one's on
Connor,
MySpace.
let's continue.
Oh, that's it, Nick.
Oh, that was it.
That was it. The
That
championship
was it.
teams.
I told
If
you,
anybody,
Those will take-
anybody has any nominations to recommend us,
Absolutely.
we will always consider them.
That will take place in December at some point. Hopefully, Jack is still around when that moment comes. Anyway,
I'm going to be here till the end, baby.
we have had one heck of a night, $1,748, surpassing our goal by $748. Thank you so much to everyone that donated. We have around 20-something minutes left, 23, I believe, if my memory serves me right from when I just looked at the clock. Hardcore cram. Okay, I agree, Peter, with the comment in the chat there. But anyway, thank you to all our sponsors, the Milkshake Factory, Joe and Pie's Pizza, and Mike and Tony's Gyros. Winners, you will be messaged on our social media. Make sure you're following us or reach out to via text if we have your number, because most of the people we donated that donate, obviously, we know. But stranded fellas, let's bump out for the Where's the News guys really quick for a last-minute update from them, and then we'll all have a big hee-haw together at the end in about 10 minutes. We're not singing Kumbaya.
We do an as we prefer this week.
We can do a huge as we prefer it.
There we go.
All I'm going to say is this is my spot.
Jack, look, you can share this spot. It's not going to hurt you.
All right.
Belch at me.
Where's the news? Garrett, you have not had much time to talk, but the crowd has seemingly adopted John Blinn as their favorite talent on this show tonight. Several people have asked, where's John Blinn? Where's John Blinn? Is this John Blinn? Hello, John Blinn?
Look, I don't want to be, arrogant in saying this, but are we really surprised? Come on now. We know why people listen to Where's the News.
No, look, I have a very clear explanation for this. Russian bots.
Oh.
Listen, we are a news podcast, and I
Precisely.
feel like the Russian bots would try to hack us to rig the election. And I think that all these Russian bots who are from Freedom, Pennsylvania, happen to be in favor of John Blinn.
Look, just
listen.
Sympathizers, and they need to be stomped out.
Look, just because I won the Electoral College doesn't mean we can't acknowledge that Garrett won the popular vote for Where's the News most favorite host.
I didn't win the
There's
popular
something
vote.
wrong with our democracy.
I won the poll that was left in the bathroom of a Jersey Mike's.
I was in an Xbox Live party with John Blinn over the summer, and there were some very suspect people that would randomly join that he claimed were friends from home.
David.
No,
My
not David.
15-year-old brother?
No. That's what he wanted me to think. Zombie kid.
Zombie kid's not listening. He's in bed. Dude.
I bet.
He's going back to school. God bless
Back
him.
to
Jesus.
school. Back to school.
So that I
But
can be
anyway,
cool.
I just wanted to bring you two back on because you guys, obviously, two of my best friends. It means the world that you wanted to get involved with this. So I personally wanted to thank you so much for not
In
only
your
being.
face, Connor and Ethan.
No, that's
sorry,
okay.
E Entertainment.
That's okay. We can swipe the heartfelt moments. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you two personally for helping out here. You're two of my best friends, some of the best people I know. You might disagree with that, but that's how I feel about you, and you're not going to change that. So thank you so much.
I disagree
for
that
coming
John's a
on.
good person.
It means a lot to me, and all jokes aside, definitely thank you for being here. But you two have not had a chance to talk as much as I think the people, as I'm seeing comments pour in, want you to talk tonight, and I think we need to give them their fix
Well,
in these last 20 minutes.
They want you, John. They don't want me.
I don't know. I would argue that Garrett is highly sought after.
I mean, yeah, just because there's not a lot of Garrett comments, it's one of those things where
I'm sorry after like how people want an ottoman for their house. Like they're not gonna buy it. They're not gonna pursue one. But if they run into one, they'll. But if they see it, if it's on clearance,
When I see an ottoman walking down the street, I can't resist but to jump on it and take it home.
Every time I see an
Rest
ottoman,
my feet upon
That's
it.
a whole human person from the Ottoman Empire.
Oh, you stole my joke. What are you doing?
Oh, what do you mean?
Oh, you come in on my podcast.
I don't think that the mic I don't
During
think
Stranded?
that the mic picked up Jack's comment in full. It might have. I don't know. All I know is he's yelling.
I hope it did because that was beautiful.
It was. It was.
That's a whole human person.
It was.
When isn't Jack?
That's a human person.
So, I mean, typically in Where's the News, we break down the show into three separate segments: A&E, sports, and of course news. And in honor of us being paired up with Stranded, right? I wanted to toss out a sports topic, right? Because Where's the News?
Oh no!
Sports is our weakest subject.
The whole peanut gallery
So
is about to start screaming.
Yeah,
from the
exactly, and
background.
that's why I want to toss it out here. Which player on the Pittsburgh Steelers
Oh no!
would
Do I have a heart attack the most when I walk?
whose career from the Pittsburgh Steelers would be impacted the most if they catch COVID-19? Because it's looking
I have
like
an
it's
answer.
trickling into the team.
I like that we're actually getting into some more hard news as the show ends.
Well, I mean, that's what you got us
It's all
out here
been
for.
softballs tonight, so yeah, let's get into it. But I also don't want to debate who's going to get most screwed if they get.
Well, maybe it's.
Can we just all agree it's Big Ben? Can we agree?
Look,
He's the
listen,
oldest player on the team,
Ben
is he
has
not?
been through so much. I don't think COVID's going to do much to Ben.
Oh, yeah, broken arm's
The
just
dude
gonna like.
got carried into the tunnel.
Dude, he's got a weather detector on his leg.
They massage his knees, his elbows, his shoulders.
What did they do
every
to him?
joint in his body, every.
What did they do to him in that
between
locker room
drive.
where he limped in and then came back out and played the rest of the game?
They probably beat the crap out of him. You didn't make a good pass, Ben. You know what that means. Time for flogging.
Well, no, 'cause,
We have a comment for Juju.
a comment for Juju.
We have a
Okay.
comment for Juju.
All right. Well, all right.
no,
Which
Juju.
He might be the most social of all of them, so he might be the most realistic to catch it.
But I think he's the youngest and the most in shape, so he would probably.
Have you seen Chase Claypool?
I know like two Steelers players. I'm just trying to contribute to this conversation.
Not to go this route, but James Conner.
Yeah, he's got a
That's
good point.
very fair. That's very fair.
Dude, Ben's got a weak body.
Honestly, I have a tremendous amount of respect for James Conner for even playing this year.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like I think that's
Dominating the league.
I think that's been thrown under the radar a lot. James Conner playing with his injury history, obviously his past with cancer, to play in a league that is not the best in terms of protocol for this sort of thing.
Yeah, they really seem to be struggling.
I think it's really admirable that he's trying to play. Well, he is playing, and he's doing a very good job right now. But yeah, I think that would be very, very detrimental to him if he were to catch this.
To go back to that comment, I do think that Juju is a very good candidate for bringing it to the team. I think that as the most social
Vince
member of the
McDonald.
Steelers, as the most social member of the Steelers,
Well, I
he's
mean-
going to college campuses where it's on the rise, places like that. He is most likely to bring COVID to the Steelers.
Like I said, it's already sort of trickling in there.
Yeah, but
And
he's
Vince McDonald
definitely
seems like the most likely suspect at this
yeah,
point.
but he's not going to be the one who is at the most at risk.
Yeah.
Definitely not. He's at risk of bringing it in, but then he's one of the people who's likely to recover. I think Dave Chappelle put it nicely on SNL when he's like, people like Chris Christie, with all the pre-existing conditions, are like a buffet for that. Ben is in the hospital or just even doctor's offices for, my 2 broken legs and my broken arm. Oh, no.
We have a comment that says, admirable for James Conner or self-destructive?
Ooh. That's a very good
Which
question.
raises a very
I'm
valid
no
point.
sports expert here.
I believe it's a contract year for him, though.
It is.
So, and there were all those injury concerns, and he's having a good season. So far it's worked out.
He really is.
But it's a very good point that it could be very self-destructive if something were to happen. But at the same time, I still think I lean more towards admirable, but that comment definitely gets me thinking a little bit more about my answer.
It definitely gets you thinking. I'm also curious how, if James Conner would have opted to not play this season, how the Steelers would have responded.
By having Benny Snell and Anthony McFarland.
I mean, just it wouldn't be like with an old-fashioned Le'Veon Bell situation where he just doesn't come. James Conner would have a reason not to be playing. So how do you think coaching would handle it?
Here, though, if he didn't do that?
Right. How would the media handle it?
They'd act like he was a tyrant.
Would fans criticize him for it? You know what I mean?
Any level-headed fan should not.
Well, good luck finding a level-headed Steelers fan.
I'm one. No, that's not pumping my own tires to steal a quote from Jack, but I like to think I'm a very level-headed Steelers fan.
But it's interesting.
They're out there. They're not the most vocal ones, but they're out there.
It's interesting to think about.
Connor, don't you dare look at me when you were screaming "Who Dat Nation" into the mic 2 hours ago.
He's got a point.
I know. I love you, but hang on a minute. No, I don't know. That's definitely a good question. It's a good point to bring up.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know who said that comment, but kudos to you. Peter.
I'm not saying Peter Corman, it says.
Oh, okay. Peter Corman raised that.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I know Peter, and he's.
Okay.
I never expected him to
to
raise a
say,
solid sports point.
I'm hesitant to say their last names, but they're publicly commenting under their full name, so that's fine.
No, he won't. Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a very good point. If it wasn't a contract year for him, and he already had a bunch of question marks around everything, I'd say he probably shouldn't be. But the fact that he is and he's doing well, it's pretty cool. I
definitely respect the decision. At the same time, it's also hard at the end of the day to say, whether it's the best decision to make. But until I'm in those shoes, I can't be the one to answer that question.
Yeah, that's one of those things where
they're technically cleats.
He says it happens occasionally, John, that he brings up good sports.
Peter, I'm proud of you. That's all I need to add. That's all you need to hear.
Comment section has blown up since John got on.
Because John Blind's just a personable person.
Everyone from beautiful Freedom, PA is oh man.
Listen.
Our hero.
If Trump visited Freedom, PA, he'd say, "Listen, I don't want to be here, but I'm forced to be."
And we made it so far without mentioning either one of them.
Not to bash Freedom, but it's hardly beautiful. I mean, we have a railroad as half of the town.
I chose to compliment where you came from.
I appreciate it. I'm just saying.
Oh, come on. We're from a place called Raccoon Township, and you listen.
That's where Garrett's from. Yeah,
Raccoon Township
is Raccoon. I'm from Beaver County.
I'm from Beaver County. I'm from Hopewell Township.
Peter
all of
Corbin
my friends live in
Freedom is indeed not beautiful.
Listen, I'm from Beaver County, Hopewell Township, but
can we get Peter?
All of my friends are from Raccoon County.
Okay. Oh, by the way, Garrett and I were talking about this. Ian Connolly, we want to give him a shirt. Uh-huh. We may make a modification to that stretch goal in this last 30 minutes, depending on how many donators.
Okay. The last 30 minutes.
Well, then with that being said, Ian, broke college student like all of us, donated. No. Okay. But we'll talk about that after the show.
Click anonymous.
Okay.
So we're going to keep everything about that private.
But just know, Ian, if you're listening, you're going to get a T-shirt.
Can we get Peter? Not sure if he donated. But
Peter's contributed a lot.
He's been contributing, and I think, given our age and everything, I don't think we can shame someone for not donating.
Absolutely not.
I think we have to give Peter
I think Peter is worthy of a T-shirt. So we have one more to give away. Maybe make four?
Maybe make four. I don't know.
I'd consider that. We'll make an official announcement on that, I think, probably after this is all said and done. This is open until the end of the week, I believe, right, Nick?
It should be.
So those of you
I have to have that confirmed with Garrett, who knows. I don't know. He set it up last year, and it was set up a way I haven't found anything like that, but I'm pretty sure it's fine.
So those of you who may be tuning in late or, just catching this later on in the week, just know that this is open until the end of the week.
Yeah,
those of you who listen later in the week and decide to go to the timestamp of 2:46:33, thank you very much.
Yeah, we're going to post this on the Where's the News segments on Where's the News. So if you guys are hearing this in post, we're not actually ghost. It is, in fact, after the show. You can still probably donate. We'll double check.
Yeah.
Even if you can't, donate to Children's Hospital. Just say, hey, where's the news sent me?
Hey, with the Garrett's pace
Peter
of
says, I got a free shirt for dunking on freedom. What a time to be alive.
Honestly, dude, if you
Peter.
dunk on freedom, I'm never going to fault you.
with
When do we
Garrett.
make fun of Erie? That seems to trickle in every single time.
I mean, we do that
something.
all the time on the regular episodes.
Yeah,
though.
we do. We do.
Dude, Erie, PA is Las Vegas to the east.
Listen, there's so many good nicknames for Erie. Miami of the North, Las Vegas of the East. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I mean, in all honesty, like, I love going to Erie, the little campgrounds. It's a cute place. It's
You
a little-
two need to come up to Erie.
Recently.
Everyone here.
Where's
should come
where's
to
the
Erie.
news
We've
takes
had
we
some.
film a road
Gallo's
trip?
been in Erie. Gallo raises his finger as number one. He is the only one in here that made the
Dude,
trek.
he's over there typing a novel.
Connor
give him a
Lawrence
break.
apparently was trying to drive Chitty Chitty Bang Bang 2 hours up towards the Miami of the North. And
Listen,
couldn't make it.
listen.
Miami
Here's
of the
what we'll
North.
say: if we get to $2,000, not only will I eat bread, me and John will record our road trip to Erie, PA.
Oh, I guess Garrett's just donating my gas money as well.
I'll drive.
All right.
I have better
I'm all
gas
in.
mileage than the Saturn does.
A trip to Splash Lagoon, Erie's.
I love the
gem.
conversation. We just had a whole stranded business meeting, and now we're planning road trips to visit each other over the summer
Dude, I'll
or
visit.
winter break.
Dude, over the winter break, me and John will come up. We'll go to Sarah's campground. You know, just chill out. I got a camper.
No, Garrett, it's cool. My calendar was completely clear. You know, you didn't have to ask me.
What were you gonna do in Freedom, PA?
I don't know. Maybe look at the trains or something.
Oh, here comes the train. Toot toot. I gotta go sit by the railroad.
Walk 12 feet from one end of the town to the next. That's it.
You're
It's
in
a 12
Beaver-
feet long
you're
town.
in Beaver County. What's there to do? It's like Erie County.
I mean, I could go look at the mall and be sad at how it's kind of dying.
Dude, the Beaver County Mall is one of the. They have Rural King. That's what they're surviving by. It's by chickens and feed. Ah, yes, I would like to buy a chicken on my trip to the mall. Let me go get an Ann's pretzel afterwards. Shout out to Ann's. I can't eat them anymore, and I
I can
miss
have
them.
filthy fowl on my hands and then stuff pigs in a blanket from Auntie Anne's with the other hand.
Oh, yeah, let me stop at one of 3 stores left in the mall. Would I like this discount coffee shop? Maybe the elderly home where they like to play pool. Pool, not pole.
We just had another scare where it said the stream connection was poor. So if there's any buffering in those points, I apologize. But it says it's excellent connection once again. So hopefully these 10 minutes prove to be unproblematic for these final hurrahs.
I would hope so. But given Where's the News' luck, I would say
So,
maybe not.
Garrett, John, we're going to give you guys a couple more minutes, then we'll wrap up with the stranded fellas. What's one last thing that you really want to get off your chest before we say farewell and get our big group picture?
Other than John Blynn's shirt.
Woo woo. In terms of
That didn't sit well with me.
in terms
okay.
of formality, I would just say we obviously still have 1 or possibly 2 T-shirts to give away. If no one donates within this last half hour,
We'll find enough
we'll figure it out and we'll give you guys an update. So just stay tuned for that. We're not forgetting about that. That is on the graphic. Therefore, or I think it's on the graphic.
No.
Anyway, it's been made official throughout the live stream. So one way or another, it's going to happen. Just take our word.
We might have some new Where's the News merch and designs on the way.
I made the official announcement while you were in the room.
He did.
Gosh
He
darn
did
it.
indeed.
But yeah, I'm looking into that.
Gotta be quicker than that.
That's it. I'm sorry, John Blinn is just the Flash over here. He went back in time and he's like, guess what, guys? We're going to make merch.
Did you know that my best friend Ian's family used to call me the runner when I wasn't around, even. Just at family dinners, they used to
Why
call
would
me
they
the runner.
call you the runner?
Well, because whenever I would play soccer, my dad was the coach. So whenever my dad would,
None
be
of this
getting on
story,
me,
I believe, yet, for the record.
My
You
dad-
have about 10 seconds.
my dad would be getting on me, right? And when your dad's
Is
yelling
that
at
why
you
you
as a
ran
coach,
so slow? He was.
well,
on
he was
you?
yelling at me
He
for
was on your
running
back?
slow.
Dude,
And
have
I
you
would-
seen him? He's big. He's like, it would be like King Kong running down the
And that's the
Empire
thing.
State Building.
That's
Your
the thing.
dad was really cool. I know we're starting to get really personal here, but your dad and mom and your grandparents are really nice.
I'm sure that
I-
means a
I
lot to him.
appreciate
He's
that.
definitely sleeping by now, but I'm sure that means a lot to all of them.
Well, when he goes to timestamp 2:51:06 and hears that,
Regardless, we'd be playing, and I'd be running slow because, I was, believe it or not, I was a little thick boy. I was like Russell from Up, looking in the
that's Garrett when he wears his pierogi hat.
Hey,
That's what I looked like. I was always this big oafish man, and for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to play soccer. It was a sport where I need to run up and down the field a whole bunch. My dad would be like, getting on me, and I would start to get just real upset. I got this little kid temper. But if you notice when I
That's the
walk,
worst.
if you notice when I walk, I don't walk with my toes forward. I walk with my toes angled slightly away from each other. So I have like this
Like
sort of like
goofy.
shuffle walk. Yeah, I have a very goofy walk.
No. I don't mean like goofy like the adjective. I mean like goofy the character.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. But so for the longest time, I would run like this too. I sort of figured it out, sort of. I can still hardly run, and I'm glad I'm not doing Nick's miles over here. But my dad would start to get on me, and I would start to get upset, and I'd get beet red, and I'd curl my fists up, and then I'd just put my head down and waddle as fast as I possibly could. And if you can picture like a king penguin trying to, I don't know, catch the bus that it missed at the stop, that's what it looked like watching me run down the soccer field.
Why would you share that story on a live broadcast?
I don't know. It came up.
I had my liver transplant, which is why we're all having this fundraiser in here tonight, making everyone stay up late. And I had gym the semester that it happened in. And my gym teacher walks up to me and goes, "Nick, you need to run the mile or I can't pass you."
What a...
And I go, "Coach, there is no way that there's no loopholes to get me around this." Because at the time, I believe it was like, I don't even know. It was late in the year. It might have been the beginning of the next year because I had it in November. This might have been like January. I don't know because we did it outside. It doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is it was within like 3 months of me having a liver transplant. And he's like, "I need you to run the mile or I can't pass you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I sprinted around the first corner of our track. And I said, "Nope." And I jogged the rest. And then jogging became walking at about a quarter of the way in because I just had no stamina in me. I beat 2 people that were trying to run. I still beat 2 people.
Oh, okay.
I feel bad for them to this
as
day.
one of the kids who could never run the mile. Shush. I think the moral of the story of both of these things
never give up on your
is
dreams.
that not only coaches but gym teachers are absolutely the worst. And my standing on Where's the News, and maybe we'll talk about it on Where's the News, is that I've never had a good experience with either. Well, they're both horrendous people.
We hope that you enjoyed this experience with John and Garrett from Where's the News.
Just want to toss out one more little bit.
John, can you please make it fast? I need to pee really bad.
Yeah. No matter what your dreams are, even if you're a little tubby kid at age 8 playing soccer, no matter if
21.
you're waddling real fast at an accelerated pace, always chase your dreams.
With a waddle. Ha ha!
Like, wow. It's like Disneyland with all the
All right.
possibilities when John Blinn tells me my dreams are achievable.
We are within the final 3 minutes of the stream in 5 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. So we did it, is the moral of the story.
We did.
We made it.
We're 3 minutes away. 3 minutes away.
I mean, we're 3 minutes away from being, what, $748 over our goal? I'd chalk that up as a success.
I would as well.
Even more than a success. I'd call it a super success.
A super slam, for lack of a better term.
An ultra win, as you will.
So in these last couple minutes, for those of you that don't know, we have a segment entitled As We Prefer It, where we say something that we just really enjoyed from the last week. It could be from our personal lives. It could be from our love life. It could be from the sports world. It can be some good news that you heard about a local construction project in your neighborhood. It really doesn't matter. It's how we prefer it. So we're going to end tonight's stream with obviously getting really deep, but not yet, because we're going to say how we prefer it. Gallo, the man, how do you prefer it?
I prefer it with the introductory press conference of Steve Cohen today and him saying that a lot of all the right things, as opposed to just being a pencil pusher guy that's in the front office. But no, he is driven to win, and he is driven to win right now. Stay tuned, and also get ready, baseball world, because Mets fans are about to be unbearable for the coming years.
Ooh. Connor, how do you prefer it?
Usually I come here and say I prefer it in Who Dat Nation. I prefer that in the Steel City. But tonight, I prefer it when we all come together to donate for this great cause tonight. Give yourself a hand at home.
We'll give a big clap. We'll give a big clap at the end. Ethan, for the first time ever, how do you prefer it?
I prefer it Steelers pulling it out in Dallas.
Who would have thought?
Surprise
on Sunday.
Surprise.
Last play of the game once again for 2 weeks in a row. Micah Fitzpatrick pulling it out once again with another nice play in the end zone. Moving on for the first time 8-0 in franchise history. Amazing game.
It's hard to believe that that's the first time they're 8-0. It's really hard to believe. Jack,
the way that I prefer it.
I was going to say my hero, but I didn't think.
Usually meanders around the realm of sports, but I'm going to also go down the route of Sir Connor Lawrence in the fact that I prefer it as my friend Nick Hederick is 7 years cancer-free. That's how I prefer it. And you know what? I'm going to crack a cold pop for you.
Thank you.
A cold Coca-Cola.
If you didn't make that joke, there was a high chance I cried, which would have meant that we ended the stream right then. That's a nice cherry Coke. That looks really good. I haven't had a cherry Coke in a while. But anyway.
That's how I prefer it. Buddy.
I prefer it. Well, first we're going to flex. Go ahead. We're going to flex at the people that tell Connor Lawrence, screw you and your stupid podcast last year. They slid up on his Instagram story. We're going to tell the people, Nick, your podcast sucks. Because what we've created here is far bigger than ourselves, and this is why we do it. Yeah, we pump our own tires sometimes. Everyone does that. But the thing that makes Stranded Sports, a great community feel is that the whole brand of it is just friends sitting on your couch talking sports and having a good time. We never advertised ourselves as better than you. We never advertised ourselves as smarter than you. We advertise ourselves as just your friends sitting on the couch and talking, and that's why we try to engage you guys so much and say, give us your thoughts. So, to all the naysayers, to all the people that had complaints, compliments throughout our history, through all the fans of To The House on Reddit that love to tell us how great our show is and how we're average Joes talking, congratulations, because you just told us that we're hitting our niche, so thank you very much. To all those people, I want to say, what the hell have you done? We just raised $1,700 for a great cause from us and our fan base. We have created something here that is beautiful. And no, we're not doing this to inflate our egos and say, look at us, we did something nice. We did this because we want to. But I mean, we are not huge. We don't even have 200 Twitter followers yet. We've been around for 3 years. The fact of the matter is, never discredit yourself for how much of an impact you can make, no matter how big or how small. Last year we raised $600. This year we raised $1,748. Yeah, we had help from Where's the News. Yeah, we had guests on this year. Yeah, it was a hell of a lot better planned out than it was. But never discredit yourself for the voice that you can have and the impact that you can make. We're just 5 guys chasing a dream of being, prominent in the sports industry one day. And we did this today. We all came together with us and our fans, and we did something that might impact the lives of someone we don't even know. And yeah, that's a damn good feeling. That's a damn good feeling. But to do it right now in the current state of the world, that's a hell of a feeling. And I'm honored and privileged to sit by these dudes through all the stupid quarrels we have about stupid things, through all the ups and the downs of trying to do this and run a blog and have a successful podcast while in school. I'm very proud to know these gentlemen and call them friends. That goes for these guys and the Where's the News guys. And I'm proud to call everyone that donated friends and family. And for everyone that donated that I don't know, thank you very much. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So I'll leave you with that thought and the thought of thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you to everyone that donated. Thank you to all the people at the Pittsburgh Children's Hospital that treated me and all the things that you'll continue to do in the future. Because tonight we came together. We were stranded together, and we made one hell of an impact for 5 average Joes talking. And if you ain't down with that, I got 2 words for you. Too bad. Too bad. This has been the Stranded Sports and Where's the News charity live stream benefiting the Pittsburgh Children's Hospital. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight and making this event a tremendous success. Thank you to the Milkshake Factory, Mike and Tony's Gyros, and Joe and Pie's Pizzeria for sponsoring this event. If you won anything, we will contact you. Don't worry, we'll let you know. I know we didn't announce anything here, but thank you very much. That was very long-winded, but we're gonna... Jack?
What I have to say is, in the words of the super genius Mark Madden, this is what it's all about.
This is indeed what it's all about. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Here we go. We'll see you next time.